Chapter 161, Dual Traversing Dragons Walala. Zhang Xian stopped. Even though Master Lu Chen had a huge collection of books, Zhang Xian managed to flip through all of them within 2 hours. Tens of thousands of books that were identical to those on the bookshelves had appeared in the library in his mind. Elementary painting cognizance, the complete collection of painting techniques, collection of the setting sun as expected of a painting expert, nearly all of the books one could find on painting in Tianxian Kingdom could be found in his study. He even had several hundreds of exclusive collection books, those that were hard to find in the market. Any other master painter wouldn't be able to accomplish such a feat. It was due to his guidance to Emperor Xinzhui that the latter had his men gather this collection for him. It should be sufficient with these books. After imprinting all of the books in his head, Zhang Xian stopped. With a jolt of his mind, he muttered in his head, the correct version. Voila! The correct verses from the innumerable books were extracted and compiled in an entirely new book. Zhang Xian opened the book and started reading through it. Painting can be categorized under drawing and calligraphy. It can rid a person of his impatience, allowing one to reach a tranquil state of mind. The introduction was mainly on one's understanding of painting. After which, it detailed on how one should hold a brush, how should one write words, and how should one fill in colors. All work had techniques to them, and painting wasn't an exception either. Even though it required diligence on the one's part, if one had a good teacher to point out the correct path, one would be able to avoid the common mistakes and improve swiftly. This library had gathered the essence of painting from tens of thousands of painting books to form one ultimate book. In other words, it was a book that pointed one straight toward the peak. There were no curved routes that had to be taken at all as long as one learned closely from it. Zhang Xian's understanding of painting increased at a tremendous rate. Quietly standing on the spot, he slowly read through the pages in the manual. After an unknown period of time, he suddenly opened his eyes. Immediately, he saw a pair of black eyes before him. The owner of that pair of eyes found Zhang Xian's behavior bizarre and was studying to see what was wrong with him when Zhang Xian's eyes suddenly opened. Taken aback, he yelped and leaped backward. Master Lu Chen. Only then did Zhang Xian clearly see the person's appearance. It was Master Lu Chen. The master painter looked at Zhang Xian warily, as though he was some kind of primordial beast. What's wrong? Upon seeing his reaction, Zhang Xian was perplexed. It is not like I will kill you. What do you mean by behaving like this? You didn't achieve a breakthrough, did you? Master Lu Chen asked carefully. Breakthrough? I didn't. Zhang Xian was stumped. That's good. Master Lu Chen was clearly still traumatized by the previous incident. Heaving a sigh of relief, he continued, seeing that you were in the room for such a long period of time, I came in to take a look. Initially, he thought that Zhang Xian would be out in 10 minutes or so after browsing through a few books. He didn't expect that this single trip would take up 4 hours straight. Unable to wait any longer, he came in to take a look. When he walked into the study, he saw the other party standing before the bookshelves with his eyes closed, as though he was asleep. He suddenly remembered the previous time. After reading a few books, he closed his eyes and went into a daze. After which, his study was wrecked and he was flung everywhere, nearly having his precious life extinguished. Then there is no more then. This time it couldn't be that the same thing had occurred as well. Just when he was conflicted about what he should do, the other party abruptly opened his eyes. To be honest, it took all of his courage to remain in this room. How can breaking through one's limits be that easy? Upon seeing his guarded look, Zhang Xian immediately came to a realization and shook his head with a bitter smile. It was one thing if Zhang Xian didn't say those words, but after hearing those words, Master Lu Chen felt a dull ache in his chest and his mouth twitched intensely. Not easy. Didn't you achieve a breakthrough that easily the previous time? In fact, you achieved too great a breakthrough that you were unable to adapt to your strength. If not for the fact that I had cultivated a little, I might have died on the spot. The more he thought about it, the more depressed he felt. Forget it. It's good that you didn't achieve a breakthrough here this time. Otherwise I am truly considering whether I should bar you from my study permanently. How is it, have you finished adjusting your state of mind? Lu Chen changed the subject. I'm roughly there, let's go out. Zhang Xian nodded his head. Returning back to the lounge, he saw Huang Yu and Bai Sun staring him out. To think that he would spend an entire 4 hours just to adjust his state of mind, it was truly inconceivable. How is it? Master Yuanyu's complexion looked awful. His initial plan was to pay Master Teacher Yang Xian a visit that afternoon, yet this fellow adjusted his state to the point that the sun was about to set in the horizon. Along with his previous conjecture, he could already be considered extremely patient for not leaving straight away. I'm ready. Looking at the gazes everyone was shooting at him with, Zhang Xian felt guilty and embarrassed. You should start drawing. Sensing the atmosphere turning awry, Master Lu Chen hurriedly gestured Zhang Xian forward. Quickly browsing through the painting technique recorded within the Heaven's Path manual once more, Zhang Xian walked forward to the table and casually picked up the brush. Upon seeing that Zhang Xian was about to paint, Huang Yu and Bai Sun's interest were piqued and they hurriedly looked over excitedly. They were curious to see what kind of masterpiece this Master Zhang could create after adjusting his state of mind for such a long period of time. Even Master Yuanyu couldn't help but pay attention. If that fellow was truly trying to deceive everyone here by putting on a show, he would punish him personally. Just when everyone's eyes were staring at him intently, Zhang Xian hesitated for a moment before asking, Master Lu, do you have any extra paper? I would like to test the brush first. Painting isn't like a cultivation technique where one just has to circulate one's jinqi throughout one's body to start fighting. Regardless of how much a person knows about painting, one has to first try it out with his own body first. He had neither drawn nor used a brush before. He had to first try out the rigidity of the brush and how deep the color would be when imprinted onto the paper before he could start painting. It was also for the same reason why he was unable to become a true apothecary swiftly despite reading through so many books on pill forging. Pill forging required a large amount of practice, whereas drawing focused on one's state of mind. Even if one's skill was lacking, if there was soul in their painting, it would still be an impressive work. Give it a try then. Master Yuanyu's expression darkened further. If the other party was truly a master painter, why would he need to try out the brush? He was obviously trying to drag things out. Drag on for however long you want to. In a moment's time, I'll see what kind of excuses you can come up with. Oblivious to the bizarre look Master Yuanyu shot at him, Zhang Xian picked up the brush, made a dab into the watercolor and drew a few strokes onto the paper. Then, he picked up another brush, dabbed it in water and casually painted over the color. The most basic color spreading technique? To have to test even this, it can't be that Master Zhang is painting for the first time. Seeing his actions, Huang Yu subconsciously muttered. Paint spreading is one of the most basic techniques to painting. To put it briefly, one used to water to spread paint over the canvas, creating the effect of a color slowly lightening over the distance. This is just like the long fist in martial arts. There's not a single person who is capable of painting who doesn't know of it. Other people usually just tested the rigidity of the brush and depth of the colors. Yet, this fellow gave every single technique on the book a try, as though a curious infant who was coming in contact with the world for the first time. A constipated look appeared on everyone's faces. Brother, we have waited several hours for you. Can you be any faster? If this goes on, I will probably die of old age before I can see your painting. When I first came into contact with the brush, I think I was like that as well, wanting to try everything when actually I didn't know anything at all. Bai Sun was doubtful. Even he could tell that something was amiss. Master Lu and Master Yuanyu's disposition changed the moment they picked up the brush, as though a swordsman had picked up his sword. What are you doing? Even though the Master Zhang whom he respected had the correct posture for holding the brush, his movements were stiff and constrained, as though it was the first time he was holding a brush. Don't tell me that your getting into the state by browsing through books was actually an excuse to learn painting. Even Master Lu Chen was perplexed. He truly had no idea what Zhang Xian was up to. I'm ready. After taking a moment to adapt to the brush, Qiang could feel that his movements and the knowledge in his head were finally aligned, and he heaved a sigh of relief. Then you should start. Seeing him pause, Master Lu Chen quickly said before the fellow before him could do anything else. Fortunately, Qiang simply nodded his head and walked forward to the clean sheet of paper. With a flick of his finger, a brush was sent flying into the air, which he caught and dabbed into ink. At the same time, he gently grabbed another brush with his other hand. Voila! The two brushes started flying about the paper as though they had lives of their own. A painting slowly emerged on the originally blank sheet. This is Dual Traversing Dragons. Upon witnessing the scene, Master Yuanyu, who intended to expose him for his fraud, widened his eyes in shock. Master Lu Chen's body swayed and nearly passed out. What is Dual Traversing Dragons? Looking at the astonished expressions of the two masters, Sun couldn't help asking. Usually, when we draw, we often use only a single brush to create the rough outline before adding in the colors. Lu Chen explained. Huang Yu and Sun nodded their heads. In the past few weeks, they had come into contact with painting and learned the basic steps one usually took while painting a picture. One usually did a rough outline first before going on to add in the ink and colors in detail. This is just like building a house. One starts off by creating the scaffolding before adding materials to it. Even though this creates a solid foundation for the painting, it makes painting an extremely slow and tiring process. Master Lu Chen continued, thus, in order to quicken the process, some incredible painters created this Dual Traversing Dragons painting technique. Exactly as its name goes, the painter diverts his attention into doing two tasks at once. His two hands would become completely separate entities, starting on both the left and the right of the paper simultaneously. Without building the outline of the picture, the painter paints according to the concept he has in his mind, and when the two brushes meet one another, the painting would be done. By doing so, the painting duration can be increased by more than a single fold, but the difficulty is extremely high. Firstly, one needs to have a clear image of what their picture would have, and this includes even the minute details. Secondly, one must be able to completely sever their mind into two and multitask without making a single mistake. Finally, one has to be extremely clear about the coloration of the picture. Only then will there not be a problem when the two sides of the painting meet. Honestly, this is an extremely high-level technique. Even Brother Yuanyu and I are incapable of doing so. At this point, Master Lu Chen shook his head. Disbelief could still be seen on his old face. One needed absolute confidence to complete a painting using this Dual Traversing Dragons technique. Without several decades of practice, it is impossible to master this technique. Yet, Qiang casually displayed such a skill. Can things get more exaggerated? Put aside your shock for now. This kind of painting method needs to come together perfectly at the center before it can be considered as a success. If it fails, the entire painting could crumble. Recovering from the shock, Master Yuanyu harumphed. It is true that double traversing dragons is an incredible technique, but regardless of how well one drew either side of the painting, if it can't come together as one, it would end in a failure. Using construction of a house as an analogy once more, even if both sides were to use extremely advanced technology to build an incomparably resilient house, such that even a fighter 6 Dan is unable to destroy it, if in the end both ends fail to link up together perfectly, the construction would still be considered a failure. Chapter 162, Second Level. Furthermore, painting revolves around one's state of mind. Without artistic conception, no matter how vivid one's drawing is, it is useless. The Dual Traversing Dragons technique forcefully divides a painting into two portions, causing a split in the artistic conception. Thus, even if the two sides match up perfectly in the middle, it would be difficult to reach the third level. No matter how well one's left and right hands manage to coordinate together, one is still severing the painting into two. It is absolute that the artistic conception would be lacking as compared to when one uses only a single hand for the entire painting. Flaunting his painting technique, but losing sight of the original goal of painting. Hypocritical. After explaining, Master Yuanyu shook his head. After the initial shock, not only did his impression of Zhang Xian not improve, it even worsened. To him, Zhang Xian is arrogant and disrespectful. Not only did he keep them waiting when they had agreed to hold the examination at noon, he even claimed to need to adjust his state of mind before painting, dragging the matter out for 4 hours straight. And now, in order to show off his painting skills, he chose to flaunt his technique instead of focusing on creating the best work he could, losing the soul behind his work. Without a calm and peaceful state of mind, but instead, an intention to awe others, it is impossible to create a masterpiece no matter how skilled one is. It is impossible for such a person to become a grandmaster. Brother Zhang is still young, and it is normal that he will wish to impress others. Master Lu Chen understood his old friend's frank and direct personality and smiled bitterly. He is a youngster after all. It is normal to want to show off his techniques. We can't expect him to be like us, beings with half a foot already in the grave. Creating the best work one can make is the best way to impress others. Dual traversing dragon is something those street-side craftsmen use to mass-produce paintings. If he doesn't kick away this habit of his, it would be difficult for him to achieve great things in the future. Master Yuanyu said without holding back at all. Hearing his evaluation, Huang Yu and Bai Sun fell silent. The both of them are not as experienced and authoritative in the field of painting as compared to the elder before them, and as such, they were unable to refute his words. Just as Lu Chen wanted to say something, Bai Sun's voice sounded. Look, he is starting to connect the both ends. The attention of the crowd turned to the painting, and exactly as Bai Sun said, Zhang Xian's brushes were converging, beginning to connect the both sides of the painting. This he can't possibly connect them. Taking a glance, Huang Yu couldn't help but comment. The two halves of the painting were about to be merged, but the individual paintings on each side were completely different, be it the depth of the color, the underlying appeal, and the painting style. Even if Zhang Xian were to merge the two halves together, it would simply become two different paintings on a single canvas instead of forming one perfect entity. One half was bright while the other half was dull. Even if he were to combine them together, it would just end in a failure. Could it be that he had failed? It is impossible to combine the two halves together. Master Lu Chen had intended to speak up for Zhang Xian, but upon witnessing the situation, he fell silent. His complexion darkened, and subconsciously, he exerted so much force on his fingers that he accidentally plucked a few strands of his beard out. Even though he didn't want to admit it, based on his comprehension of painting, he could clearly see that the two halves of the painting were irreconcilable. It was as though they were of two completely different worlds. It was absolutely impossible for both ends match. Could it be that it was as Brother Yuanyu said, that Brother Zhang was being hypocritical? Even though he had only met him once previously, his impression of him was that of a prudent, humble, and polite person. He wasn't such a person before. If this here was indeed his true personality, it would be difficult for him to reach great heights in the field of painting in the future. If he doesn't manage to merge both ends, it would simply be a failure. To think that I waited an entire afternoon just for this. Master Yuanyu shook his head in disappointment. When Lu Chen spoke of Zhang Xian's affairs, he was actually filled with great expectations for the latter. He truly thought that a young painting genius had appeared and that he might be the hope to glorifying painting within the kingdom. Yet, after meeting him in person, he realized that he was just a hypocritical fellow. Despite being obviously incapable, he chose to feign as an expert by using the dual traversing dragon's technique instead of drawing calmly. Now look at what has happened. Both ends of the painting turned out to be of completely different, making them impossible to connect. I'll see how you talk your way out of this embarrassment. Even if you wanted to show off, you should first have the capabilities to do so. Otherwise, you will just make a fool out of yourself. Clearly, this Zhang Xian is one of such fools. With a sigh, Master Yuanyu closed his eyes slowly, refusing to watch on. It wasn't that he didn't want to look, but he was afraid that he would be unable to keep his temper in check upon seeing the other party make a fool of himself when he fails to match the both ends together. Wait, how is this possible? Immediately after he closed his eyes, he heard exclamations of shock, as though the others had seen something inconceivable. Frowning, he opened his eyes once more and saw Master Lu Chen, Huang Yu, and Bai Sun staring in shock at what was in front of them, as though they had just seen a ghost. What's wrong? Even if he fails to match both ends together, there should not be any need for such shock. Perplexed, Master Yuanyu turned to take a look as well. With a single glance, his eyes immediately narrowed and his body swayed. He was immediately plunged into astonishment as well. This what is going on? He was astounded as well. Right before him, at the boundary where the two ends of the painting came together, a gentle stroke by Zhang Xian erected a wall, thus creating a barrier that separated both ends into two different entities. The divide created by the wall erased the dissonance between the two halves of the painting. Instead, the contrast between both sides harmonized together to create a sensation of peering into two different worlds at once. It's this courtyard, Bai Sun couldn't resist exclaiming. He had realized what the painting illustrated. What Zhang Xian's left hand drew is the courtyard they were in. There is someone painting, someone commenting on the painting, and the scenery is calm. On the right is another courtyard and its interiors are filled with flowers and dancing birds. There are also quite a few animals dancing the midst of it, and the sound of the cicadas are bright. It felt like a natural paradise outside of the bustling human society. On one end is the world of the humans, on the other end is the natural world, on one end is quietness, on the other end is commotion. Two different sceneries, two different states of the mind, and two different sensations. Yet, they merged successfully due to the appearance of this single wall, perfectly harmonizing the two different themes. A divine stroke, truly a divine stroke, Master Lu Chen complimented. Previously, he shared Master Yuanyu's thoughts that the painting would surely be ruined. Yet, he never imagined that these two completely different scenes could be perfectly harmonized with a single wall, letting its viewers enjoy an incredibly unique beauty and pleasure. Commotion within silence, and silence within commotion. The wall was truly a divine stroke. A single wall, yet a completely different world. The quality of the painting soared to a whole new level immediately. Incredible. After a long moment of silence, Master Yuanyu couldn't help but offer a word of praise. Clearly, he didn't expect the presence of the wall at all. If the artistic conception of both ends of the wall were the same, the painting would instead be a failure. I have embarrassed myself. After adding in the wall, the entire painting was completed. Zhang Xian put down his brush and chuckled lightly. Please appraise my work. He had just learned drawing, so he had no idea what he should draw. Thus, he drew the lounge where everyone was at and the neighboring courtyard. Let me take a look. Master Lu Chen walked over and studied the painting with a lowered head. Huang Yu and Bai Sun hurriedly came forward as well. Previously, they were standing a distance away so as to not disturb Zhang Xian, so they didn't manage to obtain a clear view of the painting and was unable to recognize that Zhang Xian was drawing this place. Now that they came closer, they couldn't help but be impressed. The drawing of the courtyard was vivid and lifelike. Under the work of his brush, the beautiful image seemed to be floating out of the paper. How pretty! Huang Yu's beautiful eyes gleamed with admiration as she subconsciously offered a praise. Even though both halves of the painting were created simultaneously, even the minute details were flawless. In fact, even the tables and chairs could be clearly seen within it. The expressions of the crowd in the painting could be clearly made out, and it was as though he had plucked them from reality and imprinted them directly. It was almost unbelievable that a painting could be that elegant. It's a pity. After taking a brief look, Master Yuanyu couldn't help but shake his head. In fact, even Master Lu Chen expressed his pity. This painting is so pretty, what could be wrong about it? Unable to comprehend the reason behind their sighs, Bai Sun asked. Honestly, he wasn't able to see anything wrong with this painting. He felt that it was on par with the previous two. This painting had perfect workmanship. There isn't the slightest error, and in terms of painting, contrast, complement, it can truly be said to be top-notch. Just that, As I said before, working simultaneously with both hands would cause one to place too much emphasis on the details and neglect artistic conception. Without artistic conception, it can only reach the second level, spiritual canvas. This painting is still a huge way off from reaching infused intentions. Master Lu Qian shook his head. There were 4 levels to painting: reality depiction, spiritual canvas, and breathtaking verisimilitude. The paintings that Yuan Yu and Lu Qian created previously were both of the 3rd level, as the conception of the artist was infused into the paintings. With a single look, one would feel refreshed. Zhang Xian's painting was perfect regardless of the theme, its outline, or its workmanship. But, it was a pity that it was lacking this kind of feeling. Without artistic conception, the highest level his painting could have reached was the 2nd level, spiritual canvas. If so, it couldn't be considered as a masterpiece. It is a pity, but Brother Qiang is still young. When he reaches our age, he will surely be able to easily whip out a painting of the 3rd level, or even one of the 4th level. Master Lu Qian consoled. Even though the painting was still far from reaching the 3rd level, he was nevertheless impressed by Zhang Xian's work. After all, Zhang Xian hadn't even reached 20, and yet he was already able to create a painting of a quality that could awe him. It seems that he has true skills. Master Yuan Yu nodded his head in approval. Then, he turned to look at Zhang Xian and reprimanded him. However, it is still better for youngsters to remain humble. After the series of affairs, his impression of Zhang Xian was poor. However, it was true that the painting was of superior quality. Putting aside the lack of artistic conception, he wasn't able to find any flaws with the workmanship. It seemed that the fellow wasn't a fraud, and possessed true abilities. In spite of that, Master Yuan Yu was displeased by the airs he put on just because he possessed some capabilities. After all, he made them wait for such a long time just for his painting. Humble. Hearing the other party's words, Zhang Xian knew that he must have kept them waiting for far too long, and the other party was displeased with his actions. He smiled embarrassedly. I apologize for keeping everyone waiting for so long. That's more like it. Seeing the other party apologize to everyone earnestly, Master Yuan Yu nodded his head in satisfaction. You have good foundations. As long as you polish your painting skills and accumulate more experiences, you will surely be able to paint a painting of the 3rd level soon. Please do not waste your talents because of complacency. Indeed. In order to create a painting with artistic conception, one has to gain a deeper comprehension of the world around by paying careful attention to the surroundings. Master Lu Qian advised patiently. Thank you for your guidance. Knowing that the other party had good intentions at heart, Zhang Xian nodded his head. Alright, now that we're all done painting, it's time for you two to start appraising the works. Watching him accept his advice humbly, Lu Qian didn't dwell on the issue further. Instead, he turned his attention to Huang Yu and Bai Sun to continue with the examination. However, at this moment, Bai Sun's shocked voice echoed suddenly. This isn't right, Master Zhang. Why don't the humans and birds in your painting have any eyes? Everyone had been more concerned with the overall structure and concept of the painting instead of the details earlier. Taking another glance at the painting, they realized that the birds and the humans in the painting didn't have eyes indeed. Chapter 163, I'll just draw another one. No eyes? Did he really forget to draw it, or was there another hidden reason? Everyone was filled with doubts. Regardless of humans or animals, the eyes are the most expressive. The painting can't be considered complete without their eyes having been drawn. For an incomplete painting to reach the pinnacle of the 2nd level? Brother Zhang, this is. Lu Qian turned to look at Zhang Xian with a look of utmost confusion. Oh, I will add them in now, Zhang Xian smiled. The brushes began to dance once across the canvas, this time swiftly adding in the missing parts. Wang! The moment the eyes were drawn, it was as if the painting was jolted awake. A peculiar sensation permeated into everyone present. All of the humans and animals within the painting seemed to have come alive in an instant, and it was as if these creatures simply could just take a step forward and traverse into the real world. This? Noticing the change in the painting, Master Lu Chen and Master Yuanyu were astounded. Their eyes widened in disbelief. Chiu chiu. Before they could even speak, the sound of canaries echoed in the courtyard. A group of birds flew to the painting excitedly and danced on it. Breathtaking verisimilitude? Can this be the fourth level breathtaking verisimilitude? Watching the situation before him in a state of bewilderment, Xuan asked. Master Lu Chen had introduced the 4 levels of a painting previously to everyone here. For the birds to be attracted to the painting and linger around it, it was clear that the painting had reached the 4th level, breathtaking verisimilitude. Didn't the 2 masters say that this painting could only reach the 2nd realm at the very best? Why had it transformed into a 4th level all of a sudden? Could it be because of those eyes? Covering her mouth in shock, Huang Yu's body trembled in astonishment. To think that she would have a chance to personally witness a 4th level masterpiece in the making, this is truly something that she didn't imagine to be possible before. Wang. However, before she could recover from her shock, the canaries in the painting quivered for a brief moment before flying out from the painting. These canaries danced a few rounds with the other birds before disappearing into thin air. All of the other figures also seemed to have emerged from the plane of the canvas, smiling at the audience and clasping their hands together in a bow before disappearing slowly. This isn't a 4th level painting. Upon seeing this sight, Master Lu Chen's mouth had fallen so wide that a chicken egg could be stuffed in easily. After a long period of shock did he manage to gather a few words out of his mouth. That is a 5th level painting, spirit creation. Spirit creation? Huang Yu and Xuan were puzzled. Aren't there only 4 levels to painting? Why is there a 5th level out of nowhere? What had happened? They were slightly stupefied by the occurrences before them. Reality depiction, spiritual canvas, infused intentions, and breathtaking verisimilitude, these are the most common painting realms that were passed down by mouth from generation to generation. Actually, there is another level above all else, and that is spirit creation. A painting that has achieved such a level possesses the breath, spirit, and soul of a master painter. As though being granted a soul, the painting obtains the ability to absorb spiritual energy so as to grant the beings within it life. Master Yuanyu's lips were quivering. I thought that this existed only in the legends. To think that I would have the honor to witness it for myself. The composed Master Yuanyu could not control his intense trembling of his body. He felt as if the world was going insane. Just a moment ago, he criticized the other party for being hypocritical, and perhaps that with a few years of experience he could maybe produce an infused intentions painting. Yet the other party immediately created a 5th level masterpiece. A painting of this level, probably less than a handful of it were created since the inception of Tianxian Kingdom. Even the ink daylily canvas which Huang Yu and Xuan were vying for is only a 4th level pinnacle. It is still a far way off from reaching the 5th level. Those who are able to produce a painting of the 4th level are termed as a master. On the other hand, those who are able to produce a painting of the 5th level are respected with the title, Grandmaster. To think that he said that a Grandmaster painter was hypocritical, disrespectful, and unpunctual, the heck. Am I going insane? Master Yuanyu felt a stinging sensation on his cheeks. If there was a hole in the courtyard, he would definitely drill himself into it. That was simply too embarrassing. To speak the truth, he would even have willingly waited for 3 days without a single word of complaint to watch a Grandmaster create a masterpiece. 5th level. There is a 5th level. Huang Yu and Xuan finally came to a realization, and their gazes immediately shot toward Zhang Laoshe. Lu Chen is a secluded expert and he isn't bothered with the affairs of the world. He only knew that Zhang Xian was a teacher, but he wasn't aware of the exact details. Master Yuanyu also just got to know Zhang Xian, so he didn't know of the latter's background. However, Huang Yu and Xuan had been to Hengtian Academy and knew a lot about Zhang Laoshe's background. It is said that he is a trash who scored 0 in the teacher qualification examination and his students all left him, but the truth is that he possesses the strength of a Pishue realm pinnacle and the abilities of a grandmaster painter, having not even reached 20. Have you ever seen such an incredible trash? If he is trash, then what are we? The elites of the trash. Brother, how are you so amazing? Do you need to be so talented? Furthermore, if you are so amazing, why did you randomly draw about earlier, as though you knew nothing at all? Furthermore, to browse through books for 4 hours straight with this kind of level, is there any need for you to browse through books? Do you even need to adjust your state? Even if you were to randomly draw a painting, it would at least be of the 4th level. Master Qiang, Grandpa Qiang, can you give me this painting? As long as you give it to me, I am willing to do anything for you. Just as everyone had yet to recover from their disbelief, Sun suddenly turned to Zhang Xian and looked at him expectantly. Give it to you? Zhang Xian was taken aback. Indeed. Given how I usually treat you respectfully and how I obediently obey all of your orders, please give it to me, Sun hurriedly added in. Sun, what are you doing? This is something Master Zhang had just created and his emotions are infused into it. How can he simply give it to someone else so casually? I think it would be best that you spare your efforts. Seeing how shameless the other party was, Huang Yu frowned and reprimanded him. Then, she swiftly turned her gaze to Zhang Xian and said, Master Zhang, I am the first one to get acquainted with you. I won't ask you to give it to me, but why don't you sell it to me? You can offer any price that you like, and as long as it is within my means, I won't have a single word of complaint. Initially, when Huang Yu reprimanded him, he thought that his actions were truly inappropriate. Yet, it turned out that Huang Yu had other intentions for saying so. Sun was speechless. Not expecting that this beautiful assistant master teacher would be so scheming and shameless, he harumphed and spoke through gritted teeth, Grandpa Zhang, I don't mind paying any amount that you come up with as long as you sell this to me. No matter what, my offer will surely be higher than hers. Sun, why are you causing trouble now? Didn't you want Master Lu Chen's ink daylily canvas? I won't fight with you over that one. Now, I only want this one. Surely you should be content now, Huang Yu spat through her gritted silver teeth. I don't want that ink daylily canvas anymore, so don't vie with me over this, alright? Sun didn't have any intentions to step down at all. Lu Chen. Previously, these two fellows had been vying so intently for his painting that if they could, they would even come to blows over it. The main purpose of this examination today was to determine who had the qualifications to attain it, yet, now that Zhang Xian's painting had appeared, all of them abandoned it immediately. The heck? Can you have some principles? Do you have to be so materialistic? You Sun, why must you always go against me? Huang Yu was infuriated. You are the one who is going against me. I was the one who first expressed my interest in this painting, Sun said. Enough. Seeing the two of them arguing ceaselessly, Master Lu Chen's complexion darkened and he flung his sleeves furiously. Hearing his word, the two of them certainly did not dare to bicker anymore. Lu Chen is the emperor's tutor. No matter what, he is considered as an elder to them. They would be courting death if they were to continue to bicker before him when he had already expressed his annoyance toward their behavior. Even if it is a grandmaster painter, painting a 5th-level masterpiece requires a great amount of effort and spirit. Few of such works are born in an entire generation. This painting was created with much effort by brother Zhang Xian, so it should be his choice whether he should keep it for himself or gift it to you. Don't you think that you two are going overboard bickering over his painting like that? Master Lu Chen spoke authoritatively. His words made sense. Even a grandmaster painter would find it difficult to produce paintings of the 5th level. After all, too many factors such as one's state of mind and one's form are involved. It isn't something one can produce on a whim. That's precisely the reason why, even though the grandmaster painter Mo Chinzi's reputation rung far and wide a century ago, such that countless master painters came to pay him a visit, he did not leave behind many works of the 5th level. Even the ink daylily canvas that Lu Chen treasured is only at the 4th level pinnacle. This shows how precious and valuable every fifth-level painting is. It contains the heart and soul of its creator, so it is too unreasonable to expect its creator to simply gift or sell it. If a painting of such level could be bought that easily, given Lu Chen's wealth, how could it be possible for him to not even have a single painting of that level? It is the product of someone else's effort and is not for sale. Yet, you two are bickering here over it. Aren't you two making it difficult for him to step down from this awkward situation? We were reckless, Master Lu, Master Qiang. I was wrong, taking in his reprimand. Huang Yu and Bai Sun immediately realized their mistake and their faces were full of awkwardness. The other party did not even mention selling it, and yet, they had already begun to bicker over the item. They have truly embarrassed themselves, Brother Zhang Xian. They are still young, so please do not blame them for that. After reprimanding the two, Master Lu Chen turned to Zhang Xian with an apologetic expression. However, not only did the other party not get angry, he even looked at him with shining eyes. Master Lu Chen was still puzzled at his reaction when he heard the other party's voice resonating. Master Lu Chen, is there really someone who is willing to buy my painting? Can it really be sold for money? Cough cough. Upon seeing his reaction, Master Lu almost choked on his saliva. If a painting of such caliber cannot be sold for money, doesn't that mean that no one would pick up his painting even if it was dumped on the ground? He nodded his head speechlessly. Your painting has reached the 5th level and if you sell it, it should be worth at least 2 million. Furthermore, it is a unique, one and only product that cannot be found elsewhere on the market. 2 million. That's great. Delight appeared on Zhang Xian's face. He turned around to face Bai Sun. Bai Xiao Wangye, if you really want it, I will sell it to you for 2 million. Ah. Not expecting such a twist, Bai Sun was shocked by Zhang Xian's reaction. Master Zhang, sell it to me, Huang Yu said anxiously. Calm down, if you want it, I will draw another one for you. It's not like it's a big deal. Zhang Xian waved his hands to calm down the latter. Lu Chen and Yuan Yu's eyebrows twitched and they stared at Zhang Xian as though they were looking at a monster. They almost fainted on the spot. Draw another one. Not a big deal. Brother, even if you are a grandmaster painter, this is a painting of the 5th level. Draw another one. You speak as though it is like buying the cabbages in the market. Are you sure you aren't joking? If such an incredible painting can be created that easily, paintings of the 5th level wouldn't be so rare that not a single one can be found in the Tianxian kingdom. Chapter 164. That beast, why, you don't want it anymore? Noticing the deadpan silence in the surroundings, Zhang Xian stared at her. That's not it, Huang Yu hurriedly waved her hands. It's good that that's not it. I will draw it now then. Zhang Xian didn't dawdle on the matter. He immediately took out another piece of white canvas, picked up his brushes, dabbed them in ink, and started painting. Not too long later, another painting emerged. This time, it isn't a painting about the courtyard. Depicted in the painting is a wild deer on a grassland. It is currently eating grass while warily keeping a lookout at its surroundings. There are wildflowers in the all around and the moment the painting was completed, countless bees were attracted to the surface, swarming busily around it. After which, the wild deer seemed to come alive and leaped from the painting before gradually disappearing in the air. It is another painting of the 5th level. This, Master Yuan Yu and the others were shocked speechless. Even grandmasters expend incomparable effort and spirit to create a painting of the 5th level, and yet, this fellow drew it as though it was nobody's business. Furthermore, he drew 2 of it consecutively without rest. Do you need to be so impressive? Do you need to be so arrogant? Has the world changed, or is he just that capable that he can draw a 5th level painting so effortlessly? Do you too want it as well? It is 2 million per painting. Still frozen in shock at the latter's deed, they saw this Grandmaster Zhang looking at them expectantly. To him, creating a 5th level paintings takes just a little effort. It also just happened that he was lacking money, and it was much easier to paint than to feign as a master teacher. After all, if his disguise were to be seen through, he might be beaten to death. We can buy it as well. Yuan Yu and Lu Chen swallowed their saliva. As long as you pay, anything goes, Zhang Xian said. The two of them staggered. We are talking about paintings of the 5th level. It is so precious that you can't find it in the entire capital. To think that he would paint it so casually just for money poo. Who said that grandmaster painters are ambitious non-materialistic experts who view wealth as dirt? Come out, let's see if I will beat you to death. Not too long later, Zhang Xian created another 2 paintings and they are of the 5th level as well. The 2 elders were so agitated that tears streamed down their faces. They had actually managed to purchase such precious paintings. Furthermore, each of them got one of their own. They had never imagined such a situation to be possible. Since Huang Yu and Bai Sun no longer desired the ink daylily canvas, there was no point in proceeding on with the examination. Furthermore, the ruckus that Zhang Xian had created was so great that the 2 masters lost their interest in the examination. Master Zhang, I will prepare and send you the 2 million gold coins as soon as possible. I will deliver it to the academy tomorrow. Yuan Yu and Lu Chen were wealthy, so they were able to whip out 2 million easily. However, Huang Yu and Bai Sun didn't have so much cash on them. However, given their identities, it wasn't possible for them to refuse to pay up. Seeing the stack of bills that was worth 4 million in his hands, Zhang Xian was delighted. Initially, he had only come here to repay the favor. Never in his dreams did he think that he would return with so much profits. Adding to the debt Huang Yu and Bai Sun owed him, he earned a total of 8 million gold coins with this single trip. He had earned 1 million from treating Ling Tianyu's wife, and the average sum of 3 million earned from Du Miao Xuan, Wang Chong, apothecary Qin Shao, Luo Chong. Each he had earned a total of 20 million already. He isn't too far off from gathering 23 million now. Wonderful. Zhang Xian clenched his fist excitedly. Initially, he thought that it would take several years to earn 20 million. But now, it seems that it isn't a big deal at all. If others were to hear his words, they would definitely spurt blood in his face. The heck, why don't you just die, brother Zhang Xian? I will thicken my skin to call you brother. Emperor Shinjue would be returning tonight and I have sent a messenger to notify him about the matter. You should be able to gain entry to the kingdom's book collection vault tomorrow. Lu Chen said while carefully putting away the painting. I can enter the book collection vault tomorrow. Great. Zhang Xian nodded his head delightfully. The reason why he came to the Lu residence previously was to search for Fighter 6 Dan books. If he were to pay the kingdom's book collection vault a visit, he would surely be able to compile a full version of the Fighter 6 Dan Heaven's Path Divine Art. Perhaps he might even be able to form the 7 Dan cultivation technique. In Fighter 7 Dan Tongxian realm, one's meridians are fully connected to one another, allowing Jinqi to flow freely through every single part of the body. One's breath would be aligned with the profound heavens, allowing one's fighting prowess to be increased by multiple folds. With this kind of strength, even if Zhang Xian were to leave the academy, there would be no place where he cannot go to and soar to greater heights. Huang Yu and Bai Sun no longer had the need to undergo the examination, while Yuan Yu and Lu Chen had received a 5th-level painting of their own. Each of their desires was fulfilled and thus, there was no longer any need for Zhang Xian to remain here, so he bade farewell. By the time he left the Lu residence, the sun had already set. Ever since arriving here at noon, he had been busy the entire day. However, it was all worth it. The Library of Heaven's Path had formed the Heaven's Path painting art manual, allowing him, who did not know a single thing about painting, to become a master painter who is in no way inferior to Lu Chen. Even though this occupation belongs only in the middle 9 paths, painters nevertheless hold an exceptional position in the world. This is especially so in the Tianxian kingdom, where traditions and social values are highly respected. Painters with true capabilities are able to easily earn respect. Of course, as for Zhang Xian, earning money is of the greatest importance at present. In comparison to staying in his mansion and waiting for others come knocking on his door, this trip alone had earned him 8 million gold coins. It could be considered as a huge windfall. Returning to his residence, Sun Chang immediately stepped forward to welcome him. Has anyone been here today? Zhang Xian asked. Reporting to the old master, after your departure, no one came to visit. Zhang Xian nodded his head. Looks like the 3 million entrance fee had scared quite a few people off. However, that was good as well. At the very least, he would be spared much trouble. In any case, he had almost gathered the sum required for the pills and thus, he wasn't as anxious about the matter as before. Returning back to the room, Zhang Xian did not continue to cultivate. Even though he had the Heaven's Path painting art manual to provide a foundation, producing 4 paintings of the 5th level consecutively nevertheless accumulated unimaginable fatigue within him. Soon, after lying down, Zhang Xian fell asleep. In the Lu residence, Master Yuanyu, Huangyu, and Baisun did not leave together with Zhang Xian when he bid farewell. Seems like it is too late to pay Master Teacher Yang Xian a visit today. Looking at the setting sun outside, Lu Chen commented. It was disrespectful to pay a visit after the sun had set. If it were anyone else, it would not have been acceptable, but Master Lu Chen and Master Yuanyu possessed special standing. Nevertheless, the other party was a master teacher. Even they did not dare to commit the slightest act of disrespect toward the other party. It doesn't matter, it isn't too late to pay him a visit tomorrow. Master Yuanyu replied. Lu Chen nodded his head. He glanced at the painting Zhang Xian left behind once more. Until now, he still isn't unable to believe what that had just happened. Initially, I thought that this brother Zhang is only a youngster who has a fervent passion and talent for painting. So, I wanted to test and accept him as my disciple. I would have never thought that he would turn out to be a grandmaster painter. Speaking to this point, he shook his head with a bitter smile. If news that he had intended to accept a grandmaster painter as his disciple spread out, he would definitely become a laughingstock. For him to become a grandmaster painter at such a young age, I wonder about his background. Master Yuanyu asked. Painting is an art that is harder to improve in than one's cultivation. If Zhang Xian were in his 70s and 80s, they might have been surprised by his ability to produce a painting of the 5th level, but such an ability wouldn't have been unimaginable. However, for someone who isn't even in his 20s to create a painting of such level, they can't help but fall into deep contemplation. There are only 2 possibilities to such a situation. Firstly, he possesses talents so great that others can only stare in admiration at. Secondly, there is an incredible master teacher guiding him from behind. Of these 2 possibilities, Yuanyu leaned toward to the second one. I am not very sure of the details. Huangyu and Baisun, you two have been to Qiang Academy, so you both should know a little more about Brother Zhang. Why don't you two tell us a little bit of his background? Lu Chen turned his gaze to the duo. We do know a bit of it, but I'm afraid that you won't believe me if I say it and you might fly into a rage, Huangyu said awkwardly. Fly into a rage? Why would I get angry over it? Don't worry and just tell us. Master Lu Chen was confused. There was nothing for him not to believe in or get angry over about Zhang Xian's deeds as a teacher in Qiang Academy. As a talented youngster who is highly skilled in painting, he is sure to be a popular figure with many disciples. Alright, then I will go ahead to speak of it then. This Zhang Xian Laosher is a famous trash teacher in the Qiang Academy. He is often insulted by others. Huangyu started recounting Zhang Xian's affairs. Scoring a 0 in the teacher qualification examination. Causing a student's cultivation to go berserk. How is that possible? Yuanyu and Lu Chen's eyes widened in disbelief. Are you joking? How can a grandmaster painter who had produced a painting of the 5th level be a trash? Why does the story sound so unbelievable? It should be the Education Bureau intentionally oppressing him. Huangyu continued on to recount what she had seen during the Enlightenment Will trial. Damn it! I had seen that Shang Chen before and I thought that he was an impartial man. To think that he would be so despicable. Xiaoyu, aren't you an assistant master teacher? Besides, your father is the guild leader of the teacher guild. You must teach this black sheep a lesson. Hearing the biased treatment of elder Shang Chen and his doings, Yuanyu and Lu Chen almost exploded from rage. They had witnessed Zhang Xian capabilities personally. How can such a capable person be trash? Since it isn't a fault on Zhang Xian's part, it must have been elder Shang Chen pulling strings from the shadows. How can there be such a teacher in Hongtian Academy? I am truly infuriated by this matter. Looks like I have to find some time to talk to Principal Hong about this matter and have him keep his school in check. Master Lu Chen harumphed angrily. Actually, when I said that you would get angry, I wasn't referring to this matter. Hearing the other party's words, Huang Yu scratched her head. Isn't this matter? Could it be that Brother Zhang was subjected to some unfair punishment? Lu Chen looked at her once again. Even though he had kept himself to his residence and rarely interfered with the outside affairs, just banking on his identity as the emperor's tutor and a master painter, if he truly wishes to teach someone a lesson, even the principal of the Hongtian Academy can do nothing about it. That isn't it, rather, someone had challenged Master Zhang to the teacher evaluation and it will be held a few days from now. Huang Yu hesitated for a moment before speaking. Challenge? Teacher evaluation? Lu Chen was confused by Huang Yu's words. I've heard of the teacher evaluation. Even though it is a face-off among students, the teacher's honor and prestige are at stake. Who is the one challenging him? If he were to know of Brother Zhang's true abilities, he probably wouldn't dare to do so. Master Yuanyu chuckled. That might not necessarily be the case. The one who challenged Master Zhang is an extremely famous teacher in the Hongtian Academy. He is a true celebrity teacher. Furthermore, he has countless students under him, and over 200 of the top 300 freshmen in the entrance examinations are under his tutelage. Huang Yu's words slowly softened until it sounded nothing more than a mutter. What is the name of the teacher? Lu Chen's breathing quickened. Cough cough, it is Master Lu's son Lu Sun Laosher. After hesitating for a moment, Huang Yu said. That beast, damn it. Master Lu Chen's body staggered. After which, he howled angrily. Chapter 165, Diagnosis of the Three Master Teachers. The most well-known celebrity teacher in the Hongtian Academy is actually the son of his peer, Master Lu Chen. Perhaps it was because Huang Yu had thought of this that she hesitated upon saying such words. The father considers Zhang Xian as a peer, wanting to deepen their relationship. Yet, the son is trying his best to drive him down. It is no wonder that Master Lu Chen would get angry. He can be considered to be extremely well-cultured to not explode on the spot. I will take that beast in right now and have him admit defeat, after which, Master Lu Chen stood up, desiring to charge out in his fit of anger. But before he could step out of the room, the butler, Uncle Qiang, hurriedly in. Old Master, His Majesty has sent someone to deliver a message. Upon walking in, Uncle Qiang immediately said. A message? Lu Chen frowned. He stretched out his hand to grab the yellow cloth in the other party's hands. He had already sent word that he would be bringing people to the kingdom's book collection vault tomorrow, and Emperor Shenjue had agreed to it. What did he mean by sending another message now? Bewildered, he suppressed the urge to teach that unfilial son of his a lesson and unfolded the yellow cloth in his hands. With a single look, his eyes narrowed. His face was filled with disbelief. What's wrong? Seeing the change in his complexion, Master Yuanyu was baffled. He had known Lu Chen for many years, but there were rarely matters that robbed his serenity. It should have been impossible for him to be so shocked. Look, Master Lu Chen simply passed the yellow cloth over. Master Yuanyu lowered his eyes to glance at the yellow cloth. Then, he couldn't help but stagger backward. With widened eyes, he said, that shouldn't be possible. This is a yellow cloth Shenjue had written personally and had someone sent over, so it must be real. Master Shenjue nodded his head. Turning around to face Uncle Qiang, he said, Qiang, prepare the carriage. I am heading out now. Yes. Knowing that it must be an urgent matter, Uncle Qiang did not dawdle and hurriedly proceeded to prepare everything. Xiao Yu and Bai Sun, you two follow me as well. Lu Qian turned around and passed the yellow cloth to them as well. Initially, Huang Yu and Bai Sun were confused by the situation unfolding before them. After reading the contents on the yellow cloth, their eyes lit up in excitement and disbelief. This Emperor Shinjue must be doing this for the royal elder. To say the truth, I've also taken a look at him and it isn't an illness. Rather, his lifespan is reaching its limit. If he doesn't achieve a breakthrough, he might not even live past this month. Recalling the contents on the yellow cloth, Master Yuanyu commented. Indeed. Lu Qian nodded his head, worry evident on his face. The royal family has an elder who has been serving as a stabilizing pillar for the kingdom. It is precisely because of his existence that the kingdom was able to remain peaceful and free of invasion. The moment he passes away, the Tianxian kingdom's foundation will be rattled and many enemies will take the opportunity to conquer the land. It is a pity that no matter how powerful one is, he will age and eventually reach the end of his lifespan. The royal elder isn't an exception as well. A few days ago, Emperor Shinjue invited Master Yuanyu forward to treat him. But even though the latter possesses incredible medicinal skills, he isn't able to extend a person's lifespan. The royal elder will surely die, unless he achieves a breakthrough to an even higher realm. However, to achieve that is no easy feat. The royal elder wasn't able to accomplish this when he was younger and at his peak. Now that he is nearing his end, how can he possibly achieve the breakthrough now? I always thought that the emperor had genuinely gone hunting during this period of time, just as he had announced that he would. To think that his true intention is to settle this matter. Upon recalling this matter, his surprise reflected in his gaze. Old master, the carriage is ready. At this moment, Uncle Chen walked over. Let's go. Lu Chen brought the other three along hastily. The sky had already darkened and the crowd on the street was starting to dwindle. The carriage blazed through the streets, keeping a consistent speed. Not too long after, they arrived at the towering palace gates. Tianxian Kingdom Palace. The four people alighted from the carriage and turned to look at the guard. Is His Majesty in? Reporting to Master Lu, His Majesty has yet to arrive. Recognizing Lu Chen, the guard hurried forward and replied respectfully. Since His Majesty hasn't yet arrived, we'll wait here for him. He will surely pass by here. Lu Chen nodded his head. Master Yuanyu and the others had no objections to the matter. An hour later, a wide and extravagant carriage could be seen moving toward the palace gates from the distance. It was surrounded by numerous guards and cavalries. With a single look, it was clear that it was the royal carriage that only His Majesty was allowed to ride. Hula. The curtains in front of the royal carriage were parted and a luxuriously dressed middle-aged man emerged. Paying respect to Your Majesty. All guards in the surroundings knelt down immediately. Even Lu Chen and Yuanyu bowed their bodies slightly. The most powerful man in Tianxian Kingdom, Emperor Shinjue. Teacher, Master Yuanyu, you are all here. Emperor Shinjue chuckled lightly. Then, he faced to the rear and bowed to the royal carriage. Voila! The curtains to the royal carriage were parted once again and an elderly walked out slowly. Seeing the elderly, Master Yuanyu, Lu Chen, and the others put on a dignified expression. Even more so, Huang Yu stepped forward and bowed respectfully. Lu Shi, you're here. The elderly stroked his beard and nodded his head with a smile. Then, he beckoned to the royal carriage and said, you should all come out as well. We have already arrived. Voila! Voila! The curtains to the carriage parted once more and two elders in their 50s walked out. They were both dressed in green robes and their smiles were extremely tranquil and calming. Zhuang Shi, Zheng Shi. Seeing the two, Huang Yu and the others' bodies jolted as they hurriedly bowed respectfully to the two. Given how they were respectfully termed with the title of Shi, it was clear that the three are true master teachers. Emperor Shinjue had managed to invite 3 master teachers simultaneously. It is no wonder that even Lu Chen fell into a state of disbelief when he first read of the matter from the yellow cloth. Huang Yu is an assistant master teacher serving the master teacher who first emerged from the carriage, Lu Shi. On the other hand, Bai Sun is Zhuang Shi's student. Since their teachers were here, Master Lu Chen brought them along. Otherwise, these juniors don't even have the right to pay respect to these master teachers. Alright, let's not waste time and enter first. Lu Shi smiled. The few of them swiftly entered the palace. It is truly my honor for you to visit to Tianxian Kingdom. Emperor Shenjue did not dare to flaunt his position at all and welcomed the guests with utmost respect. Your Majesty is being too polite. The reason why I am here is not just for your royal elder's matter. Firstly, it is to celebrate Elder Tian's birthday. Secondly, it seems like a good bud had appeared in your Hongtian Academy and I would like to see if he would be suitable to become my apprentice. Lu Shi smiled. Is Lu Shi speaking of Lu Sun Laoshi? The way he teaches is not bad and he is extremely famous, even in the entire Tianxian Kingdom. I have heard of his name. Emperor Shenjue chuckled as he hurriedly introduced him. Speaking of him, he is Lu Chen Laoshi's sole son. Master Painter Lu Chen, I have long heard of your name. Turning toward Lu Chen, Lu Shi smiled. I am flattered by Lu Shi's compliment. Lu Chen hurriedly bowed. Even though he possesses exceptional standing as a master painter, he is far from matching up to an official master teacher's status. Didn't you see that even the emperor was acting respectfully around them? Alright, let's drop the pleasantries. Call Shenhong here. It has been long since we last met. At the same time, Zhuang Shi, Zheng Shi, and I can take a look to see if we can cure him of his ailment. After a short banter, Lu Shi dived straight into the topic. Shenhong is that elder in Tianxian Kingdom's royal family. Hearing his words, Emperor Shenjue did not dare to keep him waiting. He delegated the task to the eunuch beside him immediately and the latter left hastily. Not too long later, an elderly approached under the same eunuch's assistance. The elder's hair had turned completely white and there were deep creases on his skin. The aura of death lingered around his entire body and it felt that he might never wake up again if he were to lie down now. Without even taking a closer examination, it was clear that he was reaching the limits of his lifespan. If he were unable to achieve a breakthrough or if there are no other solutions for his problem, he definitely wouldn't last for more than a month. Shenhong pays his respect to Lu Shi, Zhuang Shi, and Zheng Shi. The elder bowed. There is no need to be so formal with us. Allow us to take a look. Lu Shi got straight down to business. Walking around Shenhong, he examined the latter's condition and soon, a deep frown appeared on his forehead. The other two master teachers also approached to examine the situation, falling silent as well. Do the three master teachers have any solutions for his problem? Gedeng. Upon witnessing how they were reacting, Emperor Shenjue's heart skipped a beat. Your Majesty, I will just directly inform you of our diagnosis. The deterioration of Shenhong's vitality is simply too severe. If it were 3 years ago, I might still have a way to help him break through his current realm. However, the death aura that plagues him is simply too dense. I don't have any means at all. Zhuang Shi was the first to speak. I'm also of the same thought. He is advanced in age and if we try to do it forcefully, not only will it fail, it might even cause his death. Zheng Shi shook his head. Even though master teachers possess the ability to guide one's cultivation realm to reach higher realms, there are limits to their means. Shenhong before them is already nearing the end of his lifespan. If they were to induce him to achieve a breakthrough forcefully, not only would the possibility approximate zero, he might even die due to overexertion. They're right. Lu Shi shook his head as well to express his helplessness. All humans succumb to the natural cycle of life and death. Shenhong has been watching over Tianxian Kingdom for many years now, and perhaps this can be considered a kind of release for him. Master teachers are used to life and death, so they viewed these matters lightly. Even though Shenhong was his friend, he had no intention of consoling him or mincing his words. All right. A look of disappointment appeared on Emperor Shenjue's face. Although Master Yuanyu was unable to resolve the royal elder's problem, he nevertheless held high hopes for the three master teachers. Yet, contrary to his expectations, the same old conclusion was reached. Actually, you don't have to be too disappointed. Even though we are master teachers, we are just one-star master teachers. If His Majesty is able to invite a two-star master teacher, there just might be a solution for your elder's issue, Lu Shi consoled. Two-star master teacher? Emperor Shinjue flashed a bitter smile. He had paid an exorbitant sum just to invite these three one-star master teachers. Furthermore, the main reason why they were willing to accept was because they were heading for Elder Tian's birthday celebration and it was convenient for them to drop by. Otherwise, he would never have had a chance to invite them successfully. And to invite a two-star master teacher. The other party would probably just ignore him. Even in a conferred kingdom, they were existences of the highest distinction and the emperors would have to welcome them with the highest possible honor. How is it possible for an emperor of an ordinary kingdom like him engage a figure like that? Your Majesty, I happen to receive some news and it might prove useful to you. Just as Emperor Shinjue was about to fall into despair, Master Yuanyu spoke up suddenly. Chapter 166, The Kingdom's Book Collection Vault. A few days ago, a master teacher arrived in the capital and judging from his deeds, he appears to be more than just a one-star. Master Yuanyu spoke of the news that he had heard of. Master teacher. Not just a one-star. Emperor Shinjue had been away all this time and he hadn't had the time to look through the report Pavilion Elder Qian sent him. Thus, he wasn't aware of the 5-star incident. Yes. This master teacher effortlessly treated the illness plaguing Ling Tianyu's wife, solved Du Miaoshuan's persistent affliction. Master Yuanyu started recounting all that he knew about the matter. As a master physician, he was once invited to treat each of these people and thus, he knew the level of difficulty involved. Yet, this Yang Shi was able to cure them fully in just a short 10 to 20 minutes. Such a feat left him astonished, and that was also the reason why he wanted to pay the latter a visit. He is a master teacher just because he treated someone. Hearing the conversation between the two, Zhuang Shi shook his head. Even though master teachers are capable at all fields, their main duty revolves around guiding others to achieve a breakthrough of their current level of cultivation. Being able to treat them, that simply means that he is a master physician. Lu Shi and Zheng Shi also shook their heads in response to Master Yuanyu's words as well, clearly disapproving of his view. It was no wonder that they were skeptical. Even though it is said that master teachers are capable of guiding any craft and can treat others as well, those are actually the higher-tier master teachers. The typical 1-star to 2-star master teachers can only help others to achieve cultivation realm breakthroughs and only guide those in the specific crafts that they are skilled in. Besides, master teachers are prestigious figures who have eyes on them wherever they go. How is it possible for one to arrive in Tianxian Kingdom without anyone knowing, even renting a mansion and living here? Master Yuanyu was unable to refute his words at all. This master teacher Yang Xian caused quite a huge ruckus recently. However, his deeds mainly revolved around treating and curing others, and he didn't seem to have helped any others break through their current cultivation realm, with the exception of Du Miaoshuan. Besides, it was only rumored that he is a master teacher. As Master Yuanyu had yet to meet him personally, he was unable to confirm this fact for himself. What did you say his name is? I know all of the 2-star master teachers in the surrounding kingdoms. Sensing his awkwardness, Lu Shi stepped in quickly, smiling. He is called Yang Xian. I don't know much about the details, Master Yuanyu said. Yang Xian. Lu Shi hesitated for a moment before shaking his head. There isn't a 2-star master teacher going by such a name in the surrounding kingdoms. In fact, I also know of some 3-star master teachers, but I don't recall any of them being named as such. Master teachers have their own circles as well. Even though Lu Shi is only a 1-star master teacher, he still has a rough idea of how many master teachers of each tier there are in the nearby kingdoms and is able to name them. Yang Xian, this is the first time he heard of such a person. He is probably a fraud. As you have mentioned, he demands 3 million before one can pay him a visit. Will a true master teacher be concerned with material wealth? Zhuang Shi sneered. Master teachers possess incredible standing. Regardless of what it is that they need, with a single word, all powers would come rushing forward to fulfill their demands, even the royal family. For the other party to have to rent a mansion and demand a 3 million visiting fee, he is clearly a fraud who is out for the money. This, Master Yuanyu remained conflicted. In the past 2 days, news regarding Master Teacher Yang Xian had been spreading like wildfire. Hence, he had wanted to pay him a visit. Now upon witnessing the 3 master teachers claim that the other party is likely to be a fraud, he is experiencing dissonance. Actually, it is easy to verify whether he is a fraud or not. Elder Tian's birthday is still a few days away and I happen to be free tomorrow. I can accompany you to his mansion to take a personal look at whether he is a master teacher or not. Lu Shi said. I would like to accompany you too as well. Master teacher is a profession that should never be sullied. To think that someone would feign as a master teacher. I would like to see the face of that brazen fellow who dares to play with fire. Zhuang Shi harumphed coldly. Bring me along as well. Honestly speaking, I am also quite interested. Zheng Shi chuckled. All right. Master Yuanyu nodded his head. It is just like the master teachers had said, it is impossible to pretend to be the real deal. If the man truly were a master teacher, even if the 3 master teachers were to head there, it would be no big deal. However, if the other party turns out to be a fake, they would expose him on the spot and he wouldn't have to be conflicted over the matter. Throughout the entire length of the discussion between the 3 master teachers, Emperor Xinzhui did not dare to interject at all. Even though he is the sovereign of the kingdom, compared to the monsters known as master teachers, he did not dare to be disrespectful in the least. Feeling helpless, Emperor Xinzhui sighed. Oblivious to the fact that 3 master teachers had arrived in the kingdom and that they were intent on exposing his fraud, Zhang Xian woke up and leisurely stretched his body. The sun was already high up in the sky. After packing his items for a short while, he ate his breakfast and briefed Sun Qiang. I will be heading out now. If anyone comes looking for him, have them wait outside. Yes, old master. Sun Qiang nodded his head with pride. He is completely satisfied with his role as the butler of a master teacher. Regardless of whether it was the 4 great clans or the nobles, all of the existences which he had to fawn up to are now lowering their heads before him. Regardless of your identity, since the old master says so, you had better wait outside obediently. He was filled with confidence after the experiences involving Ling Tianyu and Du Miaoshuan. Oblivious to his thoughts, Zhang Xian simply thought that he had understood his words and nodded his head before heading out of the residence. After finding a remote alley, he transformed his appearance and walked toward Lu Chen's residence without delay. Master Lu Chen had said that he was going to bring him to the kingdom's book collection vault today. With that, he should be able to gather sufficient Pixue realm manuals so as to advance his cultivation. Not too long after, he arrived at Master Lu's residence. Brother Zhang, I have to apologize to you. An apologetic look appeared on Master Lu Chen's face when he saw Zhang Xian. Apologize? Could it be that I have been denied entry to the kingdom's book collection vault? Getting, Zhang Xian's heart skipped a beat. If you were unable to enter, where else can he find the books to feed the library of Heaven's Path? That's not it. I have raised an unfilial son. Master Lu Chen shook his head. Unfilial son. Zhang Xian had no idea what Master Lu Chen was driving at. What do you raising an unfilial son have to do with me? It's not like I know him, indeed. I have only heard of that matter yesterday. It seems like my unfilial son had brought you trouble by challenging you to a teacher evaluation. I'm very sorry about that. I'll head over to the academy, later on, to have him admit his defeat, Master Lu Chen said. Teacher evaluation? Zhang Xian was taken aback. Master Lu Chen, it can't be that Lu Sun Laoshi is your son. Indeed, it's that unfilial fellow. We had an argument 3 years ago and following which, he left home in a rage. After that, he had never once returned back here. Master Lu Chen shook his head. Since I am already prepared for the teacher evaluation, Master Lu Chen doesn't have to worry about this. Otherwise, he might think that I am trying to back down from the matter, and had you do so, Zhang Xian smiled bitterly. He had never imagined that Lu Sun would be Master Lu Chen's son. This is too much of a coincidence. Even so, news of the duel had already leaked out, so it is too late for him to back down now. Since he is going to slap the other party on his face, it is best that he proceeded with it honorably. If Master Lu Chen really were to create a ruckus, wouldn't his reputation fall to the gutters? If he were to seek assistance from the father after finding himself being unable to match up with the son, what is the difference from looking for a student's parent after finding himself being unable to deal with an unruly student? This isn't this way of dealing with problems. Alright then, seeing the other party's persistence, Master Lu Chen could only drop the matter at that. Brother Zhang, that child of mine never once suffered a setback and he grew complacent as a result. It would be good that you could show him that the world is big, and there is always someone better out there. This way, he might rein in his arrogance, helping with his future growth. Master Lu Chen spoke of his anticipation. That son of his was simply too arrogant. Just because of a few words that he said, the son left home and never returned once since then. He had also nearly fallen ill due to the overwhelming anger he felt then. If this brother Zhang can teach him a lesson, that would be for the best. Only after suffering a setback can one understand that there are people who are even more capable out there, and only by lowering his head will he walk a further distance. Alright then. He was just considering whether he should go easy on Lu Sun given his amiable relationship with Master Lu Chen. However, since the other party said so, given how this Lu Sun Laosher had been trying to do him in, he didn't mind returning the favor. Chatting while walking, they soon arrived at the palace. The book collection vault is within the royal palace. It contains the countless books gathered from all across the entire kingdom throughout the countless years since its inception. Only the royal family and the most powerful nobles and officials are allowed entry into it. As the emperor's tutor, it wasn't a big deal for Master Lu Chen to bring someone into the palace. The guards immediately stood aside to allow the duo entry. As expected of the royal palace, Zhang Xian surveyed his surroundings while walking toward the book collection vault. Even though the Tianxian kingdom isn't a huge country, its palace is extremely luxurious. It is in no way inferior to the palaces in his previous life. In fact, in some aspects, it might even be more extravagant than them. There are countless patios within the royal palace. Without someone to lead the way, it is easy for one to get lost. Under Master Lu Chen's guidance, they passed by several corridors and soon, they stopped in front of a giant building. This is the book collection vault. Master Lu Chen pointed with a smile. Zhang Xian looked forward and saw a tall building dozens of meters tall before him. Written in gold on the horizontal plaque were 3 grand words, Book Collection Vault. It looked exceptionally spectacular and radiant as it reflected the sun's rays. This is Emperor Shen Zhui's Golden Dragon Token. With it, you can flip through the books within as you like. However, you are not to touch any of the formations within. I won't be accompanying you in. With a flick of his wrist, he whipped out a golden token and passed it to Zhang Xian. A massive savage dragon was inscribed on it. Master Lu Chen, thanks for your help. Receiving the golden dragon token from the other party's hands, Zhang Xian clasped his hand gratefully. The kingdom's book collection vault is one of the most important locations in the kingdom. As such, there are bound to be formations and restrictions created by formation masters within to guard its interior. Without this object, it is likely that one would be attacked upon entering its compounds. There is no need to be so formal with me, it's nothing much. Alright, I'll be leaving now. Feel free to look through whatever books you wish to. No one will interrupt you. Master Lu Chen chuckled as he stroked his beard. Alright. Zhang Xian didn't dawdle any longer. With the gold dragon token in his hand, he walked straight in. The kingdom's book collection vault truly lives up to its reputation. There are countless bookshelves within it and one couldn't see the other end with a single glance. Books on all crafts occupied the shelves and with a brief look, they seemed to number in the tens of millions. It wasn't easy to get in here. I have to imprint all of these books into the library of Heaven's Path. Seeing so many books for the first time, Xuan trembled in excitement. He did not hurry to look for books on cultivation technique and instead, walked forward to the first row of bookshelves and started to casually flip through the books. Walala, walala. The sound of books flipping started to echo in the book collection vault. While Zhang Xian was busy flipping books in the book collection vault, Master Yuanyu, bringing along Lu Shi, Zheng Shi, and Zhuang Shi had arrived at the entrance of his residence. This is where that Yang Shi lives, Master Yuanyu pointed. Knock on the door. Lu Shi gestured. Chapter 167, The arrogant Sun Qiang stepping forward, Master Yuanyu started to knock on the door. Not too long later, the door opened and Sun Qiang emerged, holding out his belly with conceit. Glancing once at the crowd, he said, "Pay 3 million gold coins and wait at the door. The old master will invite you in when he feels like meeting you." Master Yuanyu is prominent among the upper echelons in the capital and many people know him. However, insignificant figures such as Sun Qiang never had the chance to meet him. Besides, he doesn't care who he is anyway. The old master is a master teacher. Even if you were a tiger or a dragon, you had better lay low obediently. Cough cough, Master Yuanyu nearly choked on his own saliva. There are 3 master teachers behind him. For a small butler to act so arrogantly, isn't he afraid of being beaten to death? I am Yuanyu and I am here to pay respects to your master. Even though he was displeased, he understood that it was possible that the person before him to be the butler of a master teacher. Even though he was of high standing in the Tianxian kingdom, he did not dare to get involved in a face-off against a master teacher. Who cares whether you are Yuanyu or Fangyu, didn't you hear what I just said? Pay 3 million and wait out here. Perhaps, you might get an opportunity to meet the old master like that. Otherwise, just scram. Sun Qiang waved chubby his hands impatiently, as though chasing off flies. If you don't have any money, don't put on an act. Do you know who our master is? A guard couldn't stand watching on and bellowed at Sun Qiang. Do I look like I care who your master is? If you want to enter the residence, you have to follow our rules. Stop talking crap here. Stop putting on an act here and just scram if you don't have the money. If you don't even have 3 million, what rights do you all have to be acting so haughtily before me? Sun Qiang glanced at him with disdain. If you are unwilling to spend the money, you should just get lost. Bragging about your master, no matter how incredible your master is, can he be greater than a master teacher? That guard nearly spurted blood. His master was Lu Shi. Regardless of he went, he was always treated with utmost respect. Yet, in the eyes of this fellow, he became a poor bloke and someone putting on an act. You are the one who is putting on an act, your entire family is putting on an act. His face flushed. Just as he was about to reveal his master's identity to reprimand the other party, Lu Shi stretched out his hand and stopped him. We're just passing by and we would like to pay the old master a visit. We trouble you to help report our presence to him. Before he could finish his words, Sun Qiang stepped forward and used his plump hands to pat the other party's face. Old man, are you deaf? Or is there something wrong with your head? Did you not hear what I just said? If you want to pay a visit to the old master, you need to pay 3 million. If you don't have any money, scram. This is the rule. If you don't know what rules are, they are standards that one needs to abide by. Get it? Seeing his actions, Master Yuanyu shuddered and nearly fainted in shock. Slapping Lu Shi's face, the few guards following behind him was taken aback. They stood rooted to the spot in a daze. They were on the verge of going insane. The heck? This fellow actually dared to slap Lu Shi's face. Even saying that there is something wrong with his head, this is no longer a matter or being courageous or not. You are really courting death. Even Lu Shi was stunned. Clearly, he didn't expect the fatty before him to behave like this. His eyebrows twitched furiously. No matter what, he is a master teacher, a person respected by everyone else. Countless experts who paid him a visit did not even dare to breathe loudly before him. Yet, this fellow struck his face at that instant. He was so stunned that he didn't know how to react. He felt so stifled that blood was threatening to spurt from his mouth. However, this wasn't the time for him to get angry. The other party obviously did not know of his identity. As a master teacher, an esteemed guest of Tianxian Kingdom, bickering with an insignificant figure like Sun Qiang is truly an embarrassing act. With a swift movement, he dodged the second slap from the other party. Suppressing the anger within, he beckoned the person from his back. Ah, Yun. Yes. The guard behind immediately recovered and passed a jade token over. This is our master's tutelage jade token. Anyone in possession of this is entitled to 2 hours of guidance by our master. It should be worth 3 million. Some master teachers would distribute tutelage jade tokens with their unique mark on it. As long as one possesses such an object, he is entitled to free tutelage from the master teacher. This object is the symbol of identity for a master teacher, and it can be traded for money. After all, a master teacher's lesson is something of great value. Very little people had the chance to attend such a lesson. Even Tongxian realm pinnacle experts would fight with all their might for that opportunity to receive guidance from a master teacher. In terms of money, it is definitely worth more than 3 million. Pa! Before he could pass the jade token over to Sun Qiang, the latter threw it out as though it was trash, causing it to smash into smithereens on the floor. Do you have a screw loose? You think that lousy jade of yours is worth 3 million? Do you take me for a fool? If you don't have any money, scram. After which, he shot them a look of disdain before walking back into the residence and shutting the door. As Tianxian Kingdom had no master teachers, such tutelage jade tokens weren't in circulation in the market. Naturally, Sun Qiang had never seen it before. He thought that they were unable to come up with the sum and were casually using some broken jade to hoodwink him. In fact, he thought that he was already sparing the other party's dignity by not having the guards chase them away. Seeing the other party toss away the jade token and staring at him with such contemptuous eyes, the guards felt so infuriated that they were on the verge of fainting. The heck, why would someone find such an unreasonable person to serve as their butler? Brother Sun, don't be in such a hurry. Here are bills worth 3 million gold. May I trouble you to inform Yang Shi of our arrival? Seeing that the other party was about to close the doors, Master Yuanyu could not longer hold himself back and stood forward to resolve the matter. If this matter was left to be, the 3 master teachers might very well blow their top. He was only a mere physician and he was afraid of getting implicated in a fight among master teachers just because he brought them over. That's more like it. At least you understand fast. Taking over the stack of bills, Sun Qiang lowered his head to verify its authenticity before nodding his head in satisfaction. Then, he lamented, if you have money, why do you all still take out some rotten jade? I've seen stingy people, but I've never seen such stingy people. Don't you know that I, Sun Qiang, am a very principled man? If you wish to enter without paying up, don't even dream about it. Hearing those words, everyone's mouth twitched furiously. Even Yuanyu almost failed to hold in his anger. Brother, do you know that the rotten jade you just smashed is a tutelage jade token? Do you know how much it is truly worth? A Tongxian realm expert would not hesitate to put their life on the line just to obtain one of that. Yet, you simply discarded it so casually, so though it is something worthless, are you really a master teacher's butler? Otherwise, how can you fail to identify such an object? Alright, wait here. The old master had some affairs to attend to and he is currently out. When he returns and finds time for you, he will summon you in. Keeping the gold bills properly, the fatty gestured. He's out. Master Yuanyu's eyebrows shot up. The heck? If he went out, why didn't you say so earlier? After accepting the money, you tell us that we have to wait for him to return. It is one thing if I had come alone. However, how can you keep these 3 masters waiting here? Can I bother you to quickly report the news to the old master? We really have urgent matters for your old master. Suppressing his anger, Master Yuanyu asked. What is the matter, to be of such urgency? Sun Qiang inquired. After the other party paid the sum, his attitude became obviously much better than before. After all, customers are the gods, emperors. No matter what it is, we're here to speak to the old master, not to you. The guard who took out the jade token earlier could no longer repress his rage. Why, you feel embarrassed to say so? Me, elder brother Qiang, have followed the old master for quite some time and have learned many things from him. If it is just a simple matter, there might not be a need for the old master to get involved. I might be able to solve it. Sun Qiang lifted his plump face haughtily and sneered coldly. What a joke. I am the old master's successor. I have witnessed his means with my own eyes. All that needs to be done is to firstly bluff the subject, have them reveal their own flaws, and then finally try his best to hoodwink the other party. Given my abilities, I should be more than capable of deceiving you fellows who aren't even willing to pay up. You've learned many things from him. The guard was about to speak, but Lu Shi abruptly interrupted him. Since you're able to tell, why don't you tell me what's wrong with me? You? Sun Qiang's fat body circled around Lu Shi before stepping backward. Recalling the old master's disposition and attitude, he lifted his head 45 degrees upward and looked at the other party calmly, as though a non-materialistic expert. You, is your family doing well? What did you say? Lu Shi was taken aback by his words and nearly fainted from shock. He had merely requested the other party to diagnose his condition. Why did he suddenly start insulting him? Master Yuanyu's body staggered. He felt so stifled that he could knock his head against the wall. The heck heavens, you might as well strike me dead with a bolt of lightning. I truly can't take this anymore. The pressure is too great. The anxiety I had felt in the past few minutes seems more than what I had experienced in my entire life. Ignoring their astonishment and anger, Sun Qiang tried his best to recall the gestures and words of the old master and chuckled lightly. Oh? You didn't get my words. Then I'll phrase it in another way then. Are the physical conditions of your family members still all right? Chapter 168, The Discerning Ability of a Master Teacher. Everyone's body shook, as though they had been struck by lightning. Initially, they thought that perhaps Sun Qiang may have made a mistake, or perhaps their ears were playing tricks on them. Yet, that fellow repeated the same message. Cursing Lu Shi's family furthermore, so brazenly. The heck, fatty, where did your confidence come from? Master Yuanyu was frozen on the spot and tears streamed down his face. I had only spoken of Master Teacher Yang Xian's existence. I didn't mean to offend anyone. Now great, if Lu Shi were to be maddened, it would definitely cause an uproar. If Yang Xian turns to be a real master teacher and he pursues the matter, a battle would definitely ensue. Afterward, there would be no more afterward. The crowd was shocked. Sun Qiang thought that the reaction meant that he was spot on, and he stood proudly. That was the method that the old master used to scam Ling Tianyu. The moment he opened his mouth, the other party immediately gave in. He had imitated Zhang Xian's disposition and gesture down to the very details, making him seem like a superior existence which had seen through the fabrics of the world. With his head tilted upward, his glance downward to see if the other party had conceded to his greatness and kneeled down to call him master. Yet, he only saw the frosty look on the other party's face. In fact, even his guards drew their swords. Old master, I am going to kill him, the guard bellowed as he prepared to charge forward. Why isn't it working? Looking at the guard's behavior, no matter how foolish Sun Qiang could be, he realized that something was definitely amiss. Gedeng, his heart leaped. Could it be that his statement was inaccurate? Even so, he decided that he must uphold his status and authority. Whenever the old master spoke, he often incurred the wrath of others. But after his words proved to be right, the other party would immediately give in. Upon thinking of this, Sun Chang's confidence surged once more. How about this? Allow me to touch your wife. Oh, since your wife isn't here, you are a beast, you're looking for it. After musing for a moment, he recalled the other catchphrases of the old master. The surroundings were completely silent. Big brother, I thought that you were quite bold to have cursed Lu Shi's family. To think that you still have more up your sleeves, wanting to touch Lu Shi's wife, calling Lu Shi a beast, saying that he was asking for it. I have seen brazen people, but I truly haven't seen anyone as brazen as you. Lu Shi's face was also steeled. His face twitched uncontrollably and he looked to be about to pass out from anger. If not for his incredible tolerance, he would have definitely killed this fellow with a single slap of his. Old master, please allow me to kill this foolish lad who dares to insult you. The guard, Yun, clasped his hands as he asked Lu Shi for permission. Tell him who I am. Lu Shi flung his robe. He actually desired to kill the person before him as well. However, the other party's arrogance caused him to be apprehensive. If not a master teacher, how would a lowly butler dare to behave in such a manner? If the other party were truly an incredible master teacher, he wouldn't be able to withstand the other party's wrath when he finds out that his butler was killed. Thus, it was better for him to behave prudently, deciding to first reveal his identity and observe the other party's attitude. Fatty, our old master is the honorary Grand Duke of the Beiwu's second-tier kingdom. Master teacher Lu Ling, Yun stepped forward and declared. Like I care whether you are some Grand Duke or whatsoever. Halfway through his words, his plump body trembled as he asked, what did you say? Master teacher. He is a master teacher. He might be able to snub the Grand Dukes of other countries, but the same cannot be said about master teachers. Indeed, our old master is a one-star master teacher. For you to insult him, you are truly courting death. Yun clenched his teeth. A master teacher is not an existence that can be sullied by anyone. To curse his entire family in public, demand to touch his wife, and call him a beast, just these were sufficient to warrant his death penalty over 100 times. Courting death? Sun Chang's mouth twitched. He nearly knelt from the fear that he felt. He thought that he could just act cool and peacefully pass off as an expert for once while the old master wasn't present in order to improve the old master's impression of him. Yet, in the midst of doing so, he became a fool instead. The old master did the exact same things as well, but why is it that he was always able to get the other party to kneel in fear, not daring to even breathe loudly, while on the other hand, he just had to meet with a master teacher? Why is there such a huge disparity even though we are both humans? Insulting a master teacher, isn't this equivalent to committing suicide? What should I do? Sun Chang's plump face folded into countless creases and he was on the verge of tears. Go and report to your old master that Master Teacher Lu Ling, Master Teacher Zhuang Xian, and Master Teacher Zheng Fei are here. As for your matter, I will settle it personally with your old master. Seeing the previously arrogant plump butler trembling in fright, Master Teacher Lu Ling waved him away. If the other party were truly a master teacher, letting off his subordinate could be considered a favor to him, equivalent to giving him face. On the other hand, if the other party turns out to be bogus, he could make a big fuss and take him down immediately, thus exacting vengeance for the insult. The old master has been out since morning. I don't know when he'll be back. Upon hearing that the other party would not be dealing with him for now, Sun Chang heaved a sigh of relief. Upon knowing the other party's identity, he no longer dared to behave as arrogantly as he did before. You don't know when he'll be back? Lu Ling and the others frowned. They can't possibly keep waiting here for him. Yes. Sun Chang nodded his head. All right then. Here is our name scroll, you take it for now. We'll pay our visits when your old master is back. Lu Ling beckoned and the guard, Yun, stepped forward to pass a name scroll. Yes. Sun Chang did not dare to refute his words and immediately accepted the name scroll from the guard's hands. Upon seeing the words, Master Teacher on it, his eyebrows twitched uncontrollably. Let's go. Since the other party wasn't here, the three master teachers couldn't be bothered to waste their time on a butler. Thus, they turned around to leave. Only after seeing them disappear into the distance did Sun Qiang heave a sigh of relief. He wiped away the cold sweat on his body before walking into the courtyard. Upon entering, he felt his knees give in and he fell to the floor, paralyzed. Looks like one can't just simply go around feigning to be an expert. Otherwise one might not even know how he dies. I will never do it ever again. Lu Shi, why didn't you directly kill that fellow who insulted you? When the crowd left, the guard, Yun couldn't help but inquire. Those who are able to become master teachers are by no means kind. Lu Shi never hesitates when it comes to killing others. But why was he able to tolerate the plump butler saying such words to him? Brother Zheng, what do you think of it? Ignoring his question, Lu Ling turned to Zheng Shi, Zheng Fei, and asked. The master residing in the mansion doesn't seem to be a simple figure. If he is truly a master teacher, it is likely that his capabilities are superior to ours. Zheng Fei nodded his head with a grim look. Indeed. Zhuang Shi, Zhuang Xian, nodded his head as well. But didn't we not see the owner of the mansion? Hearing the conversation between the three master teachers, everyone felt puzzled. They didn't see the old master the plump butler spoke of. If so, how can they be so sure that the other party's capabilities are superior to theirs? Even Yuanyu, who was following behind, felt perplexed. We didn't see him, but we saw his butler. Lu Shi said. That weak fellow. Yun became even more confused. Was there anything special with that weak fellow? You all have only seen the surface. Lu Shi shook his head. I have taken a look at the butler's constitution. It is not just poor, it can be considered to be extremely inferior. Logically speaking, his limit would have been Fighter 3 Dan Jinqi realm. However, did you see how strong he actually was? Fighter 4 Dan Pigu realm advanced stage. Yun hesitated for a moment before speaking. Indeed, he has reached Pigu realm advanced stage. Furthermore, based on how he doesn't seem to have perfect control over his Jinqi, his breakthrough should be something that occurred recently. Putting this together with what Master Yuanyu said, that this Sun Qiang is someone he hired on a whim and that he was previously just a merchant in the commercial city, it is very likely that the rise in his strength is due to the guidance from the master of the mansion, after which, a grim expression appeared on Lu Shi's face. Given such inferior constitution and unexceptional cultivation technique, the Jinqi in his body should have long sunk due to excessive impurities, clogging all of the meridians throughout his body. Yet, he was able to induce a breakthrough in him in a few short days, even raising his strength by an entire realm. It would be hard for me to induce such growth in others. As master teachers, they specialized in guiding one's cultivation. As such, they were able to easily recognize Sun Qiang's unique condition. There are clots in Sun Qiang's meridians, causing his impure Jinqi to sink. According to logical deduction, it should have already been an incredible feat for him to reach Jinqi realm pinnacle. Yet, contrary to their expectations, the latter had achieved Pigu realm advanced stage. No matter how foolish they were to be, it is obvious that the other party possesses exceptional abilities. If Zhang Xian were to hear their conclusion, he would definitely be astounded. Master teachers aren't just for show, their discernment abilities were indeed impressive. It is no wonder that it could become a profession that everyone on the continent fears. The sharpness of their eyes isn't something just anyone can match up to. If I'm not wrong, the other party had used an extremely pure Jinqi to destroy the shackles in his body and meld the sunken Jinqi, thus allowing him to achieve a breakthrough. Then, the sunk Jinqi he accumulated over numerous years caused his cultivation realm to soar, eventually stopping at Pigu realm advanced stage. The silent Zhuang Shi hesitated for a moment before speaking. If Sun Qiang were here, he would definitely be shocked. His experience was exactly as how the master teacher before him had described it to be. To be able to meld the sunk Jinqi with his and break through the clots in his meridians, that person's Jinqi must be at least intermediate tier. Or else his cultivation must have reached Zongshi realm. Lu Shi nodded his head, agreeing to Zhuang Shi's words. Then, he turned to Yun and said, regardless of whether he is an expert who possesses intermediate Tirzhenqi or a Zongshi, even if he isn't a master teacher, he isn't someone that we can afford to offend. On the other hand, if he is a master teacher, even if he isn't as experienced as us, it is likely that he wields a greater level of potential. If he had slaughtered his butler back then, it would have been equivalent to falling out with the other party, thus making it impossible to reconcile with him in future. If so, we might as well sell him a favor. After all, that butler is just an insignificant figure. He was probably scared witless after knowing of our identity. Yes. Yun nodded his head. He knew that his old master possessed incredible discernment abilities and that he was able to tell the truth through minor details. Thus, he did not inquire further about the matter. Incredible. Upon listening to their deduction, Master Yuanyu widened his mouth in astonishment. It is no wonder that master teacher is such a prestigious occupation. With a single glance, they were able to analyze so many details. Their eyes are truly fearsome. But old master, that person isn't in his mansion, so what should we do now? Yun asked. Even though he isn't in his mansion, it doesn't mean that we are devoid of ways to verify his identity. Inform Emperor Shenjue of the matter and tell him to summon the few people who had been treated by this Yang Xian to the royal palace. I want to take a look at them personally, Lu Shi delegated. Yes. Yun nodded his head. Upon hearing those words, Master Yuanyu was impressed. It wasn't of great importance that the person in question wasn't present. It wasn't a secret that Yang Xian had helped Ling Tianyu, Du Miaoxuan, Luo Chong, and apothecary Qin Shao. As long as they were to gather and question them, they should be able to understand the situation. It would then be clear whether the other party is genuinely a master teacher. Chapter 169, The Sixth Dan of the Heavens Path Divine Art. It's complete. After reading books for an entire afternoon, he had finally finished flipping through all of the Pishue realm books in the book collection vault. He had also managed to compile a complete version of the Sixth Dan Heavens Path Divine Art in the library. The front part was exactly as he had deduced before, so he only had to follow the steps behind. Time to cultivate. In any case, he was here alone, so there was no need to restrain himself. Without any hesitation, Zhang Xian sat onto the ground and started cultivating. Pipa. 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 The moment he started training, a dense congregation of spiritual energy immediately surged into his body from the heavens, causing the acupoints in his body to blow open consecutively. A series of crisp pops reminiscent of frying beans echoed in the vault. After an unknown period of time, Zhang Xian opened his eyes. A look of astonishment appeared on his face as he was in a state of disbelief. I actually managed to open all 108 acupoints. Legend has it that there are 108 acupoints in a human's body. However, only 72 of which can be opened. Furthermore, there is a specific order to how these acupoints could be opened. With differences in every individual's physique, there is a different order that everyone has to follow in order to achieve the best results. If one fails to follow the exact sequence, one might very well only open 30 to 40 acupoints in their life and thereafter be stuck permanently. He had initially thought that even with the Heaven's Path Divine Art, it would be considered an incredible feat to open 72 acupoints. Never in his dreams did he expect to be able to open all 108 acupoints. At this moment, the acupoints throughout his body were twinkling, as a sky full of stars. He felt strength surge through his entire body. If others were to learn that he had opened all of the acupoints in his body, they would definitely die of shock. 108 acupoints mean that my strength has been boosted by 108 ding. Before reaching Pishue realm, I already have 20 ding of strength, and adding in the 90 ding from my physical body, my total strength is 218 ding. That is equivalent to a Tongxian realm intermediate stage expert. Doing a rough calculation of his strength, Zhang Xian's eyes gleamed with excitement. In Tongxian realm, One possesses 100 ding of strength in the primary stage, 200 ding in the intermediate stage, 300 ding in the advanced stage, and 400 ding in the pinnacle stage. It is unheard of in Tianxian Kingdom, or even in the surrounding kingdoms, for a Pixue realm pinnacle to possess the strength of a Tongxian realm intermediate stage. Yet, Zhang Xian had easily achieved such a feat even he himself couldn't help but suspect if he was dreaming. There aren't many people in Tianxian Kingdom who can rival him now. After all, the strongest person in Tianxian Kingdom currently is only at Tongxian realm pinnacle. I should continue and see if there are Fighter 7 Dan cultivation techniques. Zhang Xian stood up and continued into the depths of the book collection vault expectantly. What a pity, after circling around the entire book collection vault once, Zhang Xian could not help but shook his head in disappointment. There wasn't any Fighter 7 Dan cultivation technique in the book collection vault. But now that he thought about it, it was to be expected. After all, Fighter 7 Dan Tongxian realm experts can be considered as the top-notch fighting power of the Tianxian Kingdom. As such, the value of 7 Dan cultivation techniques is incomparably valuable. Thus, how can one possibly leave such books lying around here, especially when visitors can be granted entry? They would most probably be kept somewhere accessible only to the emperor. Since there is no cultivation technique, I should check out the battle techniques. Thinking of such, he walked with big strides toward the region where the battle technique manuals are stored. There is a massive collection of books in the kingdom's book collection vault. Even though the battle techniques kept here are not exclusive profound arts, its redeeming factor is that there are plenty of them. Just a single move can have several thousand different schools to it. Zhang Xian stopped before a certain bookshelf and glanced toward the books on it. It is the region where the movement and leg techniques are stored. The 72 Lake Maneuver Whirlwind Legs 3-4 Styles Chain Kick Saluting Traversing Dragon all kinds of movement and leg technique secret manuals filled the entire shelf. Wang Ying's legs were once injured. Even though she has the body-nourishing medicinal solution to heal her legs, it would still be difficult for her to match up to the swift Dulé. However, if she were to learn a good movement and leg technique, it should increase her chances of victory significantly. Thinking of this, Zhang Xian started flipping through the books. Walala, walala. In an hour's time, Zhang Xian had managed to imprint all the books related to movement and leg techniques into his head, and 2 books had formed in his head. Heaven's Path Movement Art and Heaven's Path Leg Art. Casually flipping open the manuals, he immersed his concentration into the books. 4 hours later, he managed to master the 2 moves. Due to the books in the book collection vault being about the most basic and fundamental moves, only a single movement was created, just like how it was for the Heaven's Path Spear Art. That was especially so for the Heaven's Path Movement Art. It allowed him to move a distance of 20 meters the time of a tenth of a breath. His movement was so fast that it seemed as though teleportation. Of course, attaining such breakneck speed causes a huge strain on the body. If it weren't for him cultivating the Heaven's Path Golden Body, such instantaneous movement would have caused his blood vessels to burst. Even so, given his current physical capabilities, he can only execute the move once. If he were to overdo it, it would cause him to bleed from his ears and nose due to excessive pressure. Still, it is an extremely fearsome move. If one were to suddenly perform an instantaneous movement when battling with another person, even a Tongxian realm pinnacle expert can be destroyed in an instant if he isn't guarded against it. After learning the movement and leg techniques, he moved to the fists technique region and once again started flipping through the books, forming a single punching move. 2 hours later, he had easily completed learning the fist movement. Just like the movement technique, even though it is just a single move, it allows his strength to be enhanced by a single fold instantaneously. Given his current strength of 218 ding, a single fold meant that he was able to execute a punch with 436 ding of strength behind it. In other words, by executing the Heaven's Path Fist Art, his fighting prowess would rival that of a Tongxian realm pinnacle expert. Of course, this pushes his physical body to the limits as well. Just like the movement technique, he wouldn't be able to use it repeatedly. Given his current level of ability, he can only execute 3 punches at maximum. Continuously flipping through the books and studying them, time passed slowly. Fortunately, Zhang Xian had foreseen that he would be staying in the book collection vault for an extended period of time and had prepared some food in his storage ring in advance. Otherwise, he would surely die of hunger before he could even begin to train. Countless lanterns hung and lit the palace. Apothecary Qin Shao, why are you here? Walking into the main hall, Du Xuan was filled with bewilderment. He was just an ordinary elder of the Du clan, and following the deterioration of his cultivation, even that title had become just a name. Yet, he was summoned abruptly by Emperor Shenjue today and thus, he was completely confused by what was going on. Upon walking into the palace, he saw that Apothecary Qin Shao, Ling Tianyu, and Luo Chong were all here. I have also received His Majesty's summons. It must be something that has to do with Yang Shi. After all of us here have benefited from Yang Shi's grace. At this moment, Apothecary Qin Shao no longer looked as sickly as he did previously. On the contrary, he was filled with vitality and liveliness. That might be possible, Du Xuan nodded his head in agreement. Ling Tianyu and Luo Chong also suddenly came to a realization. However, there was no need for them to ponder over the matter as they would soon know the answer. At this moment, Emperor Shenjue walked into the main hall with large strides. Smiling, he introduced to the crowd. I am not the one who invited everyone here today. It was the 3 master teachers. Master teachers? Du Xuan and the others were taken aback. They hurriedly stood up and saw 3 dignified elders following behind the emperor. Sit. You must be Ling Tianyu. I heard that your wife was sick. Can you tell me about what happened during the treatment? After trading some pleasantries, Lu Shi turned his attention to Ling Tianyu. After a moment later, you say that Yang Xian, with a single look, discerned that your stone lion is made of southern blood jade and deduced from it that your family member was sick? Then with a few needles, not only did your wife awake from her coma, she even gained the ability to walk immediately? Lu Shi widened his eyes in disbelief. The southern blood jade absorbs a person's vitality. Given how your wife was stuck in a state of coma, this meant that her illness had already reached an extremely severe state. In order to resolve the issue, not only does one need to find the exact blockages of the meridians, one also requires intermediate Tirzhenqi to break open those blockages. To be able to see through those exact spots, such that there weren't any hesitation in his movements, can a master teacher really possess such sharp eyes? The moment you entered, before you could even forge pills, he could tell that you were afflicted with death aura and would die at any moment. One who is afflicted with death aura would have a dark mark at their glabella, so it isn't surprising that he would be able to tell that much. Also, apothecaries often come into contact with cauldrons. It was natural that he would deduce as so. However, to be able to deduce all these without asking a single question, why do I feel like he isn't a master teacher but a fortune teller? Also, he could tell that your unstable state of mind was caused by your consumption of dragon-scaled prawns just by your forging movements without asking a single question at all. You must be joking. Upon hearing everyone's experiences, the 3 master teachers became baffled. The heck? Is he some enlightened deity? Even though master teachers possess sharp eyes, it isn't that exaggerated. Looks like there are only 2 possibilities. Firstly, that Yang Xian's standard is much higher than ours, to the point that we are unable to comprehend the full extent of his abilities. After a long moment, Lu Shi concluded with a grim expression. Or secondly, he knows of their conditions beforehand and searched for a solution before curing their illness at a single go, thus astounding everyone here. In other words, he is an opportunistic fraud who is looking to make a fortune. Zheng Shi and Zhuang Shi nodded their heads. They shared Lu Shi's judgment as well. If it is the former, it isn't a big matter for me to pay him a visit and learn from it. But if it turns out to be the second, speaking of which, Lu Shi's eyes turned cold. As a master teacher, I have the responsibility to expose such black sheep so that they do not sully the reputation of master teachers. Chapter 170, Brewing Storm, Beiwu Tier 2 Kingdom Lu Shi and Zhuang Shi, as well as Hanwu Kingdom's Xing Shi, have arrived at the kingdom and they went to pay a visit to this young Qian together. Indeed. It is said that after they paid him a visit, they summoned Ling Tianyu, Du Xuan, and the rest of them into the royal palace. No one knows what happened in there, but the second day, the three master teachers visited the mansion once more. Furthermore, they had turned up at the mansion for 5 consecutive days, but were nevertheless unable to meet with the master of the mansion. The heck? That's way too intense. He even turned away master teachers. I know about Lu Shi and he is one of the more capable 1-star master teachers. To think that such a person would be turned away at the entrance. Just exactly how capable is this young Shi? I'm afraid that he probably isn't just a mere 2-star master teacher. No one has ever heard of Yang Xian's name. In fact, the teacher guild was unable to find anything about him either. As such, many people were doubtful of his identity and thought that he wasn't a real master teacher. However, the situation has changed. Lu Shi, Xing Shi, and Zhuang Shi are 3 official master teachers. They are public figures famous within the surrounding kingdoms. The 3 of them had paid Yang Shi a visit, but for 5 consecutive days, they did not even get past the entrance. No matter how foolish one might be, it was clear to see that Yang Xian isn't a simple figure. He is a master teacher, but his identity doesn't exist. Probably, his name, Yang Xian, is fake. Master teachers love to travel and experience the life of an average civilian. Through such, it trains their mind and tempers their soul. Could he be a high-tier master teacher who is in the midst of his exploration? I don't know about that, but if it's true, then Tianxian Kingdom has truly struck gold. Indeed. Master teachers are a symbol of a country's strength. If a country has a 1-star master teacher, it can apply for a 2nd-tier kingdom position. With a 2-star master teacher, it can apply for a 1st-tier kingdom position. Finally, if it has a 3-star master teacher, it can apply to become a conferred kingdom. Once a kingdom is conferred a title, it gains the right to build massive transportation formations to import and export resources, resulting in the country to prosper. The benefits from doing so are unimaginable. All kinds of rumors had spread throughout the kingdom. Your Majesty, even though the 3 master teachers aren't sure, and they still hold suspicions, from your humble servant's perspective, Yang Xian seems like a person of great capabilities. Otherwise, he would not have been able to treat so many people easily. Even if he isn't a master teacher, he is likely to be a great physician. There might be hope for the royal elder. In the palace, an old eunuch analyzed the available news. Send someone to stand guard at his entrance. The moment Yang Xian returns to his mansion, report back to me immediately. I will pay him a personal visit. A grave expression appeared on Emperor Shenjui's face. Yes. The old eunuch nodded his head hurriedly. This is a rare opportunity. Wang Chao, if we catch Yang Shi's attention and become his apprentice, we will surely be able to become master teachers. In a wide classroom in Hengtian Academy, Lu Sun stared excitedly at the young man before him. Indeed. No matter what, we have to pay him a visit and leave a good impression before him. Wang Chao nodded his head excitedly. Even if we are unable to become his apprentice, we will surely be able to achieve a breakthrough if he offers us some words of guidance. Lu Sun nodded his head. Right, so how is the matter with Zhang Xian going? Wang Chao suddenly recalled and asked. Him. Placing his hands behind him, he stared into the distance with an aura of superiority. He is just a stepping stone for me to become a master teacher. He means nothing at all, so don't worry about it. All of the students I have chosen for the battle are undergoing secret training, and in a few days, they will be able to break through to the next realm. They will win the teacher evaluation by an overwhelming lead, and as such, the attention of the master teachers will be on me. That's great. I'll have to congratulate you in advance then. Wang Chong clasped his hands enthusiastically. Such situations occurred throughout the kingdom. The appearance of a Yang Shi had caused all powers within the kingdom to stir. All attention were fixated on Yang Xian's mansion, and in an instant, this seemingly inconspicuous mansion became the center of buzz within the capital. A storm had begun to brew. At the moment, Zhang Xian had reached the final bookshelf within the country's book collection vault. 5 days of continuously flipping books without any rest or sleep had exhausted all of his strength. Putting aside cultivating, he wasn't even in the mood to speak. There's still one last row. Knowing that it wasn't easy to enter the kingdom's book collection vault, Zhang Xian was determined to first imprint all of these books onto the Library of Heaven's Path before doing anything. Even so, just this task itself had him exhausted to the point of possibly fainting at any moment. Seeing that he had finally reached the final row, Zhang Xian's eyes glowed in delight and tears threatened to flow out of his eyes. After working hard for the past few days, he finally sees the end of his work. These are books on poison. This row pertains to the uses of poison, creating poison, discerning poison, and inflicting poison on others. Similar to others' topics in the library, only books on the very basics of the subject were available. I shall flip. Walala. Slowly, with the movements of his fingers, the books were gradually imprinted into his mind, one at a time. Of the countless jobs, the occupation Poison Master, based on its fighting prowess, is more than qualified to be listed among the upper 9 paths. But similar to assassins, it is a despised job. They can only hide in the shadows, never to see the light of the day. As such, very few people are willing to take on the craft, causing it to eventually fall into the ranks of the lower 9 paths naturally. Zhang Xian isn't willing to become a poison master either. However, it was still beneficial for him to look through these books as it could help him guard against other poison masters. While one shouldn't bear ill intentions against others, one mustn't let down his guards. 2 hours later, he finished flipping through all of the poison-related books. I should first return to take a nap. After successfully imprinting all of the books in the book collection vault into his mind, Zhang Xian suddenly felt the fatigue he had accumulated in the previous 5 days crushing down heavily at once. All he can think about right now is to find a location to sleep. Even though he has already reached Pishue realm pinnacle and his body is significantly stronger than others, 5 consecutive days without rest while keeping his mind on the edge has left him on the brink of collapsing. Even so, the effort was worth it. The Tianxian kingdom has more than a millennium of history behind it. Even though the books in here aren't exceptionally profound such that they can be considered as secret manuals, there are huge quantities of books on the fundamentals of nearly all occupations. Usually, under such circumstances, others would find it difficult to discern the truth from the false, especially with the overwhelming content contained in this library. They would simply get increasingly muddled the more they read. However, to Zhang Xian, who possesses the Library of Heaven's Path, this isn't a problem at all. As long as he is willing to, he can extract the most precise knowledge of each job and form a Heaven's Path manual, retrieving the genuine wisdom in each book for his use. Walking out of the kingdom, Zhang Xian looked at the sky and only then did he realize that he had spent 5 entire days in the vault. I can't rest yet. It is almost 10 days since I ordered that Unravel-Eam pill and Colossus Rhinoceros blood, so the items should be arriving soon. While he was walking along the streets, he suddenly recalled that the 10 days deadline was about to come to an end and this wasn't the time for him to go straight to sleep. The items he had entrusted guild leader Ouyang to buy on his behalf should be reaching soon. I should first return to the mansion to take a look. Hopefully, someone has requested something of me in the past few days. This way, I would be able to gather the sum required for the items. He was still lacking 2 million gold coins to pay for the items. After getting into a remote alley and changing his appearance to that of Yang Xian, he started walking toward the mansion. Zhang Liao and Zhang Mo are 2 famous burglars in the Tianxian kingdom. They specialize in robbing the rich to help the poor. In a way, they can be considered as righteous burglars. Due to their nimble movements and well-planned operations, they have never failed throughout the numerous years in their career. The Tianxian kingdom offered a high bounty to capture the duo, but it is laughable that they do not even know the duo's appearances. That in front of us is Du Qiao's residence. This person is a despicable tycoon. He has committed plenty of immoral acts throughout his life. Although he had a recent encounter with bandits which dealt a huge blow to his business, an emaciated camel is still larger than a horse. We should have plenty of money to utilize if we were to rob from him. Zhang Liao chuckled and took a large step forward. Due to the intense hunt for them, they left Tianxian Kingdom for half a year. Upon returning, they immediately set their sights on merchant Du Qiao. However, we need to first plan carefully. We have to ascertain the skills of the guards in the residence and their habits before we can make a move. Zhang Mo nodded his head. Whenever the duo decides to conduct burglary, they will observe the target thoroughly to confirm the layout of the residence and determine the weakness in their defense. Only when they are absolutely certain that they will succeed will they strike. This is precisely the reason why they had yet to fail a single time after stealing from over 50 households. The residence right ahead. I have been here once. Turning around the alley, Zhang Liao walked forward. Just as he was about to sneak into the mansion which they had decided upon to survey its interior, he was shocked by the sight before them. Zhang Mo's face also turned pale. His eyes widened in shock. A large queue had formed at the entrance of the mansion. There were several hundreds of people lining up before the gates. It is one thing to have many people wanting to visit the master of the household, but the gates to the mansion were tightly shut, and there didn't seem to be any signs of it opening anytime soon. Look! Isn't that the 8-arms dragon, Lu Kaiyuan? Zhang Liao suddenly recognized a person in the crowd and his face turned ghastly white. It's him, the 8-arms dragon Lu Kaiyuan. He is a renowned figure among wandering cultivators. As a Tongxian realm advanced stage expert, he is one of the top-notch figures in the kingdom. However, wasn't he injured during an expedition to capture a savage beast, and since then disappeared from public view? Why is he here? Furthermore, waiting at the entrance? Zhang Mo was astonished. Wait, is that iron-fisted stone dragon, Feng Jun? As a Tongxian realm intermediate stage, he is the #1 expert of Hanxua City. It is said that his iron fists are capable of disintegrating boulders. He is a powerful figure who even Emperor Shen Zhui regards as a peer. Why is he here queuing up? Eagle Eyes Duan Jiang. Steel Caltrip Long Xianhai. Pale scholar Hu Xiaobai. Initially, he thought that those who were queuing up were just ordinary civilians. However, upon recognizing a few of them, he took a closer look. As his gaze scanned through the faces of those figures in the queue, Zhang Liao's body trembled and he nearly fainted from fear. These people are all top-notch experts of Tianxian Kingdom. Even the weakest of them all is a Tongxian realm primary stage. Even though they do possess several tricks up their sleeves, if they really were to encounter any single one of these people, they probably wouldn't be able to escape. They would be beaten to death on the spot. Just that back then, when Emperor Shen Zhui invited them for a gathering in the royal palace, very few of them actually turned up. Why would such arrogant and rebellious experts who dare to even disregard Emperor Shen Zhui's invitation be queuing at this mansion's entrance? Surely I am seeing things. Zhang Liao and Zhang Mo exchanged gazes. Puzzled, they scratched their head furiously. If these people were only queuing up, they might not have been so shocked. But judging from how they did not even dare to breathe loudly for fear of offending the people living in the mansion, not daring to knock the door even though they were kept outside, the heck. Heavens, can you tell me whether it is them who have gone mad, or is it just me? Isn't this Du Qiao's residence? How can a lowly merchant possess such prestige? How did he get these experts to willingly wait at the door, not daring to even utter a single word of complaint? Chapter 171, Old Master is back. Unable to accept the sight before them, a frenzied look appeared on their faces. Suddenly, an elder approached with big strides. Seeing him, respect immediately appeared on everyone's faces as they opened a path for him. Is this the 9th heaven of benevolence, Old Master Zhang? Forcefully suppressing his shock, Zhang Liao swallowed a mouthful of saliva. It is said that old Master Qiang is already in his 90s. 30 years ago, he had already reached Tongxian realm pinnacle. Of course, he isn't respected for his age or his prowess. Rather, he used to be a star teacher in Hengtian Academy and countless experts were personally groomed by him. In fact, nearly half of the experts here had been to his lessons, but why would he be here? Zhang Mo's mouth was opened so wide that an egg could be stuffed into it. This old Master Qiang entered reclusion in his residence 20 years ago, having never left his residence since then. Moreover, even if Emperor Shenjue were to meet him, he would have to address him as, "Teacher, what is such a figure doing here?" Could it be that Du Qiao's residence had been passed to him, and these experts are here to visit him? Wait a minute. The moment this thought arose in their minds, the duo immediately realized that their guess was wrong. That's because that old Master Qiang also stood at the entrance of residence respectfully, not appearing to be proceeding further. Even old Master Qiang is waiting outside the entrance. Zhang Liao and Zhang Imo exchanged glances and their lips started trembling. Even though old Master Qiang has already retired for many years, there isn't anyone in Tianxian Kingdom who would dare to show him disrespect. Even the emperor would step forward to welcome him personally into the palace. Yet, such a figure is currently waiting patiently outside locked gates. "Brother, are we still going to steal from the mansion?" After a long moment of silence between the duo, Zhang Liao turned to look at his elder brother. "Steal? Steal your head, putting aside whether we would be able to get in, even if we are to get in, with so many experts guarding the door, I'm afraid that we would be beaten to death before we even get to lay our hands on anything." Zhang Imo shuddered in fear. The thought of it sent him to the verge of tears. The heck, how do I steal from such a residence? Just the subordinates of these Tongxian realm experts are enough to turn us into meat cakes. What is wrong with this residence? Why are there so many experts who have come to pay a visit? Regard of who it is for him to have such incredible rallying abilities. Does the royal family not care about the matter at all? Suddenly, a thought flashed through Zhang Liao's mind and he couldn't help but comment. Zhang Imo was taken aback as well. How can the sovereign of the country allow another individual to hold greater prestige than him? Regardless of that fellow's identity, his ability to rally so many experts at once poses a great threat to the royal family. Putting aside the fact that each figure who came is more incredible than the previous, the most shocking fact is that they are all willing to wait patiently at the door for the master to invite them in on his own accord. For fear of interrupting the other party, they did not even dare to knock on the door. For an individual to wield such prestige, even Emperor Shenjue should feel threatened by his existence. Walala. At this moment, a golden carriage arrived at the scene. It is Emperor Shenjue. He has come. Looks like there's a show to watch. Witnessing the carriage and the figure who emerged from the carriage, Zhang Liao and Zhang Imo shuddered. Speak of the devil. Emperor Shenjue has arrived in person. He must have decided to make a move due to the pressure from the other party's capabilities. Even though there are many experts present, they are still far from sufficient to go up against an entire kingdom. Besides, rumors have it that Tianxian Kingdom's royal elder has achieved half-Zongshi level, causing the surrounding kingdoms to not dare move recklessly. Even though the people gathered here are all incredible figures, they aren't sufficient to go up against an expert of that level. Your Majesty, you have come. Paying respects to Your Majesty. Your Majesty, looks like you have arrived earlier today. I have helped you book a slot. Come over. Just when the brothers thought that a huge battle would unfold, they saw the experts at the entrance of the mansion greeting the emperor with bright smiles. Soon, Emperor Shenjue found a spot to stand within the crowd and similarly, he started to wait outside the entrance with a respectful expression. What? The two burglar brothers swayed at the same time. Can anyone tell me what is going on? For the Emperor of Tianxian Kingdom to join the queue and wait patiently, can anyone tell me who in the world lives in the mansion? Voila! Before they could recover from their astonishment, another carriage stopped by the side of the road and three elders walked over. They were dressed in similar clothes and a gleaming star was weaved on the fabric covering their chest. Is this the uniform of a master teacher? 1-star master teacher. 3 1-star master teachers. Zhang Yimou recognized the clothes the three elders wore and clenched his fists tight. I get it. These three master teachers must be conducting a lesson and these experts are here to listen. Zhang Liao suddenly came to a realization. That must be the case. Only master teachers can possess such incredible rallying powers. Without us saying a word, many experts came over on their accord, such that even Emperor Shenjue himself came over to personally listen to their lesson. Paying respects to Lu Shi. Zhuang Shi, it has been long since we last met. You still look as dignified and majestic as before. Zheng Shi, the last time I met you was 7 years ago. To think that you have come to Tianxian City. A commotion broke out the moment the three master teachers arrived. The previously arrogant crowd immediately opened up a path for them. The three master teachers, feel free to stand in front of me. Initially, the two brothers thought that the three master teachers would open up the gates and invite the crowd in. However, reality betrayed their expectations once again. After seeing Emperor Shenjue give up his position to the three master teachers, the three master teachers stopped right before the gates and waited patiently, just like the rest of the crowd. The heck, Zhang Liao and Zhang Yimou felt as though they were on the verge of collapsing. Tongxian realm experts, a highly respected old master, the emperor of the country, and even master teachers, all of them were standing before the mansion, waiting patiently for the gates to open. Who in the world could be in the residence? It was laughable that the two of them had discussed on how they should go about stealing from the residence pool. It was lucky that hadn't begun to act. Otherwise, they would have been dead by now. Jia. They were still trembling with shock and relief of having escaped from a potential calamity when they saw the tightly shut doors slowly opening and a plump man walked out. Isn't he the owner of the realtor agency in Tianyu Commercial City, Sun Qiang? Zhang Liao recognized him. After engaging in burglaries in Tianxian City for numerous years, he was well acquainted with many people of vastly different standings in the city. The plump man before them can be considered as one in the lowest tier of society. Yet, he actually resides in the mansion. Is he the one who is keeping so many experts and influential figures waiting? Butler's son, may I know if Yang Shi is back yet? Old Master Zhang stepped forward, clasped his hands, and asked politely. I'm truly sorry, but the old master isn't back yet. Please return for now. Once the old master is back, I will send someone to inform you. Seeing the large gathering of experts before him, Sun Chang's mouth twitched before speaking. As the news spread further and further, more and more people began to gather. While he was astonished initially, all he feels now is numbness. Of course, what that made Sun Chang even number was that the old master had gone missing. It was as though he had evaporated from the world. No matter how hard he looked, he was unable to find him. If he doesn't find him soon, he is truly afraid that the crowd that had gathered here might go on a rampage. If so, he would be the first one to bear the brunt of their rage facing so many experts. If not for his incredible mental fortitude, he would have long collapsed. Sigh, he isn't back yet. But that isn't a problem, we can wait here for him. Hearing that Yang Shi isn't back yet, the crowd couldn't help but feel disappointed. I think it would be best if you all return for now. Afraid that something might happen, Sun Chang tried to persuade them to leave. Then, upon catching sight of a figure, his eyes widened. Hot tears streamed down his face and he charged forward toward the figure. Old master, this what is going on? Upon reaching the doors to his residence, Zhang Xian saw the huge queue outside his mansion and was stupefied. Chapter 172, Catching a Pig? Old Master. Upon seeing Butler's son's abnormal reaction, everyone immediately understood that Yang Shi had returned. All eyes immediately turned to look at the approaching figure and saw a yellowish-faced middle-aged man looking at them with a perplexed expression. Is this the old master that kept everyone waiting? Zhang Liao and Zhang Yimou had a dizzy spell witnessing the situation before them. This fellow looks like an extremely ordinary person. How did he manage to get an emperor and several master teachers waiting outside his door so willingly? They hadn't been in Tianxian City for the past half a year and as such, were completely oblivious to the storm that the presence of master teacher Yang Xian had created. Xiao Cheng, what is going on? While the duo experienced a dizzy spell, Zhang Xian felt severe vertigo. Just by looking at the crowd, he immediately understood that these were the people looking for him to solve their problems accumulated throughout the days when he was absent. But Sun Cheng, what do your hot tears and your reaction as though you are a puppy who had reunited with its owner mean? It was just a few days of absence, do you need to be so agitated and excited, old master, you are finally back. These people are here for you, Sun Cheng hurriedly introduced. But halfway through his words, he was interrupted by another voice. Yang Shi, Emperor Shenjue clasped his hands. Did I permit you to talk? Zhang Xian was just about to find out from Sun Cheng what had happened in the past few days, but this fellow abruptly interrupted their conversation. Displeased, Zhang Xian frowned. Where did you come from? Don't you have the least bit of common sense? Can't you see that I'm currently busy? You're lucky that I have a good temper. If it were any other master teacher, he would have long beaten a fellow like you to death. Putong. Zhang Liao and Zhang Imo fell to the ground. You are too incredible, my brother. That is the emperor of Tianxian Kingdom to speak to him like that. Even Sun Cheng was flabbergasted. As expected of the old master, you are nothing short of impressive. Even the emperor means nothing to you. Emperor Shenjue's face flushed. Continue speaking. After reprimanding the fellow who interrupted their conversation, Zhang Xian turned his attention back to his butler. Oh. Recovering from his shock, Sun Cheng hurriedly continued, in the few days while you were absent, these people had come to pay a visit to you. There is Emperor Shenjue, the emperor is here as well. Zhang Xian was taken aback. Zhang Xian had intended to return the house the moment he gathered sufficient money and return back to his original identity. Yet, to think that even the emperor of the country would be alarmed by his actions. Agitated, he asked, where is he? Upon hearing those words, a peculiar expression appeared on everyone's face. Even Sun Cheng staggered and nearly fell to the floor. In the end, it turned out that his old master didn't manage to recognize the emperor. To think that he was so impressed with his action, cough cough. It's me. Emperor Shenjue coughed. You? Zhang Xian nearly spurted blood. To think that he would happen to reprimand him right after returning from his book collection vault. Shenjue pays his respect to Yang Shi. Allow me to introduce to Yang Shi, these three are Lu Shi, Zheng Shi, and Zhuang Shi. Emperor Shenjue hurriedly introduced. Lu Shi what? Master teachers? Zhang Xian was taken aback. Isn't it a renowned fact that there are no master teachers in Tianxian Kingdom? When did three of them pop up? What had happened in the few days when I was gone? Lu Ling, Zhuang Xian, Zheng Fei, pays respect to Yang Shi. Lu Ling and the others stepped forward and clasped their hands. At the same time, they took the opportunity to assess the middle-aged man before them. With a single glance, the three of them frowned immediately. Follow me in first. Oblivious to the reaction of the trio, Zhang Xian rubbed his glabella and waved his hands, gesturing for them to enter. After all, he can't possibly keep the emperor and the three master teachers waiting at the doorstep, right? Brother Lu, what did you see? Upon stepping into the courtyard, Zhuang Xian secretly sent a telepathic message to Lu Ling, he has donned a disguise. This isn't his actual appearance. Based on his skin and movements, he should be an extremely young man under 30. In fact, he probably hasn't passed 25 years of age. Lu Ling frowned. Even Du Miaoshuan was able to see through Zhang Xian's disguise, so how could the three master teachers miss it? How can he possibly be a master teacher at his age? He is probably a fake, Zhuang Xian harumphed. Master teachers are just like academics, the older they are, the wiser and more valuable they become. It is one thing that he refused to reveal his true appearance, but for his age to be under 25, how can he possibly be a master teacher? To become a master teacher, one needs to undergo numerous examinations, and every single examination holds tremendous difficulty. Due to the limited knowledge one can possibly accumulate over time, it is impossible for someone to become a master teacher in his 20s. He is probably a fake. I will think of a way to expose him later. Zheng Shi nodded his head in agreement. After hearing Ling Tianyu and the others' description of the other party, they became suspicious and wanted to verify for themselves other party's identity as a master teacher. However, when they noticed his poor disguise with their own eyes, they immediately came to a conclusion that the other party must be a fake. If he isn't a fake, why would he put on a disguise, a poor one at that? If he isn't a fake, how is it be possible for a person in his 20s to possess such high standards that even they aren't able to perceive? Furthermore, did you observe his bloodshot eyes and lethargy? If he is a master teacher, how would he allow such a condition to occur? Lu Ling said. Not only was he able to see through Zhang Xian's disguise, he also noticed his fatigue. After examining the other party carefully again, he felt his rage surging up. Because regardless of whichever aspect he looked at, this fellow didn't seem to be a genuine master teacher. A fake had made them pay visits to his mansion for 5 days straight. Regardless of who it was reasonable to feel enraged, needless to say, a fake master teacher. Oblivious to the fact that the other side had already seen through him, Zhang Xian walked up to the main seat upon arriving at the main hall. Then, he looked at the 3 master teachers and asked, "May I know what affairs do the 3 master teachers have for me?" "Oh, I've heard that Yang Shi is a skilled physician and is adept at helping others achieve breakthroughs in their cultivation. Thus, I came presumptuously in the hopes that you can enlighten me on a matter." After shooting a glance at the other 2, Lu Ling started speaking. It was unlikely that a direct approach would work. Since he was intent on exposing the other party's fraud, he had to first grill for his incapabilities. "What's the issue? Speak." All Zhang Xian had in mind was to earn another 2 million to purchase the items from the apothecary guild and to find a place to sleep. He was too tired to bother about pleasantries and simply waved his hands casually. "Act. Continue acting." Seeing the other party's disinterested expression, the 3 master teachers felt so infuriated that their eyes narrowed and their faces turned green. "Seems like he is quite a composed person. However, your acts will not work on us. We will not leave unless we expose your fraud. It is a problem with my cultivation, please guide me." Upon seeing the urging glances from the other 2, Zhuang Xian stood up and clasped his hands. "I am currently at Tongxian Realm Pinnacle, just a step away from Hafzongshi. However, I can clearly feel that the rate at which Xinqi gathers in my body has slowed greatly. No matter what I do, I am unable to make the final leap. I have tried all kinds of methods to accomplish a breakthrough, but it is to no avail. I hope that you can give me some pointers." Tongxian Realm Pinnacle. Zhang Xian felt dismal. Because he was unable to find any books regarding cultivation method in the Tongxian realm in the book collection vault, he is still stuck in Pixue Realm Pinnacle. He has no idea what kind of abilities one would possess upon reaching the Tongxian realm, so how can he possibly guide the other party? "How about this, you try executing a few moves for me to take a look." Zhang Xian knows that his knowledge of the Tongxian realm can't possibly match up to the other party. Since the other party was stumped by the question, he understood that it is impossible for him to solve it without resorting to the Library of Heaven's Path. "Execute a few moves." "Sure." Zhuang Xian understood that only by executing a battle technique can one analyze another person's issue. Thus, without any hesitation, he stood up and launched a booming fist. "Hu hu hu." The air groaned in agony under the intense might behind his fist. As expected of a Tongxian realm expert, his Xinqi surged through his body furiously as though a soaring dragon. The strength of his fist compressed the air in the surroundings and created a sonic boom. Soon, he finished executing his battle technique. Zhuang Xian, Lu Ling, and Zheng Fei turned their gazes to Yang Shi, interested to see what he would say. However, the other party had a dull look on his face, as though he was at a loss of what to say. Please offer your pointers. Upon seeing him behaving in such a manner, Zhuang Xian's complexion became extremely awful. He didn't even bother to address him as Yang Shi anymore. No matter what, he is a master teacher. It is one thing if the other party is a higher tier than them, but that is clearly not the case. How can they possibly stand lowering their head to a fake? You were the one who had me execute a battle technique, and yet you are blanking out now. It can't be that you have turned dumb after watching my battle technique. You want me to offer you pointers? Ignoring the other party's displeasure, Zhang Xian lifted his gaze to look forward. That's right. Zhuang Xian harumphed. He had already thought it through. The moment the other party starts speaking, he would search for loopholes and expose him before everyone else, then disgrace this fraud in public. Logically speaking, when the queue had formed even before they could confirm the person's identity, they should have persuaded the others against waiting outside. However, they had their own considerations for not doing so. If the other party turns out to be genuinely a master teacher, they would have offended him by persuading the others to leave. On the other hand, if the other party is a fraud, they can expose him before everyone else, causing him to fall from his grace. At the same time, it would serve as a reminder to everyone else that the identity of a master teacher is not to be sullied, and no one should ever impersonate one. My pointer is simple. I'm afraid that you won't believe my words. Zhang Xian shook his head. He truly has no other choice now but to go on ahead with it. Otherwise, if the other party were to discover that it is a disguise on his part, he wouldn't even be able to escape. However, after the several days of experience disguising as Yang Xian, he has grown accustomed to it. With an impassive expression, he waved his hands and said, "Do you wish to break through Tongxian realm pinnacle to reach Halfzongshi realm?" "Of course I do," Zheng Yang said. What a joke. Which cultivator would not wish to achieve a breakthrough? Who doesn't wish to reach higher levels? Just like how a physician is unable to treat himself, a master teacher similarly can't offer pointers to himself. He had wanted to break through his cultivation realm for a long time now, but all along, he had been unable to succeed. His two old friends, Lu Ling and Zheng Fei, had broken through long ago. He could only watch anxiously as the two drifted further and further away from him. I can help you break through your current cultivation realm within 10 minutes, but Zhang Xian paused. Break through within 10 minutes? Zhuang Xian was taken aback. Even Lu Ling and Zheng Fei had looks of disbelief on their faces. As good friends of his, they had also taken a look at his situation and their verdicts were that it would be impossible for him to break through his cultivation realm in the short term. Yet, the fraud before them actually claimed that he can do so in 10 minutes? I have already presented you an opportunity. The final choice is up to you. Zhang Xian lifted the teacup from the table and sipped on it slowly and calmly. Usually, his actions would look incredibly cool and intimidating, and those present would feel as if a heavy mountain weighed down on them. But now, his eyes are bloodshot with his eye bags tugging against his eyes, and his lips are both dry and purple. Not only does he not look like an expert, he looks as though he had been busy engaging in vigorous exercises at night. There is an indescribable dissonance between his appearance and gesture. Alright, I want to break through. Please offer me your guidance. After a moment of hesitation, Zhuang Xian gritted his teeth and accepted. If you are able to help me break through my cultivation realm as you claim, I will acknowledge that you are a true master teacher. But if you aren't able to do so, that means that you are a fake, a fraud. Are you sure? Zhang Xian gazed at him. Yes. Zhuang Xian nodded his head. Alright then. Xiao Chang, fetch a gunny sack over. Then, call a few guards and get them to bring wooden sticks along with them, Zhang Xian said. The three master teachers and Emperor Shenjue exchanged gazes and puzzled expression appeared on their faces. Gunny sack. Guards. Wooden sticks. Weren't you going to help him break through his current bottleneck? What are you up to? Are you catching a pig? Chapter 173, Yang Xian, Screw You. A normal person would only use a gunny sack and wooden sticks when catching a pig. However, upon hearing that such items would be used to help him advance his cultivation, Xuan Xian felt a pool of blood accumulating in his chest and the flesh on his face twitched uncontrollably. If not for the incredible self-control he had cultivated throughout the years as a master teacher, he would have long flown into a rage. There are only a few means which master teachers use to guide one's cultivation: refining one's cultivation technique, identifying the flaws in the cultivation, consuming all kinds of pills. Yet this fellow uses gunny sacks and wooden sticks. The heck? What is the use of a gunny sack in advancing one's cultivation? Other people eat pills to advance their cultivation. Do I eat the gunny sack to do so? Furthermore, calling for the guards and each of them is equipped with a stick. Dueling can stimulate one's hidden potential, and it is indeed a method to achieve a breakthrough in cultivation. But the guards in your mansion are way too weak. I am a Tongxian realm pinnacle expert. Even if they were to wield blades and swords, they wouldn't be able to harm me in the least. Hearing the command, Sun Qiang walked out scratching his head. After being with the old master for a period of time, he knew that the things the old master does tend to be beyond one's imagination. Even so, he had completely no idea what the old master was up to this time. What is the old master up to? However, since the old master had made such arrangements, he definitely had his own intentions. Thus, as the butler, he just had to follow his instructions. Soon, Sun Qiang managed to gather 7 to 8 guards, and every single one of them was equipped with a wooden stick. Just in case, they even brought a total of 4 gunny sacks. Old Master. Upon entering, the guards bowed in synchrony. Zhuangshi wishes to achieve a breakthrough in his cultivation, and he hopes that you can assist him with it. Zhang Xian nodded his head. It's our honor to do a master teacher a favor. The few guards were first taken aback before delight crept onto their faces. When Sun Qiang was bringing them over, he had also mentioned to them that the 3 elders in the room are master teachers. Given their current strength, it would have been impossible for them to meet one usually, needless to say, interact with them. At this very instant, they are given the opportunity to do a master teacher a favor. Naturally, they are extremely delighted. If this Zhuangshi were to truly achieve a breakthrough and remember their assistance, riches and power wouldn't simply be a dream. This is a favor to a master teacher. It is a rare opportunity. It's good that you are all willing to help. He nodded his head in satisfaction. Zhang Xian turned to Lu Ling. May I trouble Lu Shi to seal the acupoints on Zhuangshi's body so that he would be completely immobilized? Seal his acupoints? Zhuang Xian frowned. Why? If my acupoints and meridians are sealed, that means that I won't be able to move at all. Aren't you here to help me achieve a breakthrough? If you seal them, my jinqi would be unable to flow through my body, and if so, how can I cultivate? The others were perplexed by Zhang Xian's words as well. If you wish to achieve a breakthrough, just do as I say. Shaking his hands, Zhang Xian looked at him with determined eyes. Seeing the old master's expression, Sun Qiang trembled subconsciously. The expression back then, when the old master had him smash Ling Tianyu's stone lion, that was the expression that he shot him with. He believed the old master's words, nearly dying from a beating due to that. No doubt at all, if Zhuangshi really were to believe in his words, he would be in for a ride of misfortune. This old master of his who often brought calamity to others while escaping unscathed. Zhuang Xian was about to say something when he saw Zhang Xian looking over with an indifferent expression. If you don't wish to achieve a breakthrough, let's just forget the matter. I can't be bothered to waste my effort. After which, he sipped on his tea calmly. His gestures were so peaceful that it seemed like a still painting. All right, I'll do whatever that you say. Seeing the other party's attitude, it was clear that it didn't matter to him whether Zhuang Xian was willing to go through with it or not. Gritting his teeth, Zhuang Xian turned to Lu Ling and said, Brother Lu, I will have to trouble you for this. You want me to back down? Dream on. I'll see just how you will help me break through. If you fail to accomplish what you claim, just wait and see. All right. Even though he was doubtful of the fraud's words, Lu Ling nodded his head and stepped forward. He placed his palm on Zhuang Xian's body and Jinqi flowed from the tip of his fingers into Zhuang Xian's body, sealing all of the main acupoints. Done. After sealing all of the other party's acupoints, Zhuang Xian is no longer able to move. Then, Lu Ling turned to Zhang Xian and said, Zhang Xian double-checked Zhuang Xian's condition before nodding his head. This Lu Shi didn't slack off at all. He sealed the acupoints in the other person's body tightly. Later, regardless of what happens, I hope that the two master teachers will not interfere in the matter. Zhang Xian turned to Lu Ling and Zheng Fei and said, All right. Even though they were unsure of the other party's intentions, the two of them nodded their heads in agreement. Let's begin. Chuckling lightly, Zhang Xian took the gunny sack from Sun Chang's hands, stepped forward to Zhuang Xian, and placed it over the other party's head. What are you trying to do? Zhuang Xian was still pondering over how the other party was going to help him achieve a breakthrough when the other party placed the gunny sack over his head. He nearly spurted blood. I am a master teacher, a person with of great prestige. Explain to me, what do you mean by putting this gunny sack over my head? Ignoring the ruckus he had caused, Zhang Xian turned to the guards and said, It's your turn. Don't you all want to help Zhuang Shi achieve a breakthrough in his cultivation? Let's begin then. Use the stick to flog him as hard and as brutal as you can. Ah. The guards were contemplating what they should do after the master teacher expresses his gratitude toward them when they heard the old master's words. They staggered and burst into tears. Old master, are you serious? Beating a master teacher? Didn't you say that we are going to help him achieve a breakthrough? How will he be grateful to us for this? We think that living is a wonderful thing and it's still too early for us to die. Why? Hurry up and hit him. Don't worry, there's a gunny sack over his head, he won't be able to know who's the one who hit him. After saying this, Zhang Xian hesitated for a moment before continuing, If you're still worried, why don't you put a few more sacks over his head? This way, there's no way he would be able to identify you. It would have been better if Zhang Xian had not said a word. After hearing him, the guards cried even louder. The other party had already seen their faces clearly the moment they walked in. What is the use putting the gunny sack over his face at this moment? The other party isn't deaf, so he can hear their words clearly. Furthermore, this isn't a matter of how many gunny sacks we have over his head, alright? Regardless of how many there are, he would know that it is our doing. Watching the spectacle by Lu Ling and Zheng Fei's mouth twitched as they stared at one another in shock. By the side. Are you trying to help him achieve a breakthrough, or are you angry that we doubted you and that you want to exact vengeance on him? I've never heard a case where of a breakthrough just by covering a person's head with a gunny sack and having a group of people beat him up with wooden sticks. However, since they had agreed not to interfere in the matter, it isn't their place to speak up now. They could only sit by the side silently, their faces steeled. Hurry up. This is something Zhuang Shi had agreed on. Are you sure you can bear the responsibility for delaying his breakthrough? Zhang Xian frowned. Since the guards refused to listen when he spoke kindly, he could only rage at them. Yes, a bitter look appeared on the faces of these guards. They thought that it would be an incredible honor to be of assistance to a master teacher. Yet, never in their wildest dreams did they expect things to turn out as such. However, the old master is a master teacher as well, so they dare not to disobey his commands. They could only grit their teeth and get on with it. Let's go. Since they are doomed no matter what they choose, there is no longer anything for them to worry over. It isn't really a big deal once they had thought the matter through. Walking forward, the guards lifted up the wooden sticks in their hands and began to flog Zhuang Shi, who was beneath the gunny sack, harshly. Pa! 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 Even though Zhuang Xian's acupoints were sealed, his hearing continued to function properly and he had heard the surrounding conversations. Upon feeling the wooden sticks falling on his body as though a torrential rain, he felt vertigo and the final string of his rationality nearly snapped. Yang Xian, screw you. You obviously aren't trying to help me achieve a breakthrough. You are making fun of me. The more he thought about it, the more furious he felt. Rage surged through his entire body, threatening to set him aflame. In the decades since he had become a master teacher, he had never suffered such injustice, having his head covered by a gunny sack and beaten with wooden sticks. This is an unimaginable humiliation to him. It was one thing if the ones beating him are powerful experts. However, the guards in the mansion only had cultivation levels of fighter 3 Dan to 4 Dan. More importantly, his meridians had been sealed, so his Jinqi is unable to flow through his body. As such, he is unable to soothe his injuries or cushion the blows. He can only bear the brunt of the attacks with his physical body, and indescribable pain permeated every single part of his body. Just as he was about to explode in frenzy, he heard Yang Xian's voice echoing from beyond the gunny sack. The places where you are hitting aren't right. Ah, yes, that's it. Before Zhuang Xian could even process his words, he felt an incredible force smashing right in his face, leaving a surge of stinging pain in its wake. The next few strikes all came flying straight at his face. Initially, the pain was only limited to his body. Now, even his head isn't spared. The heck, feeling his lips swelling, Zhuang Xian was on the verge of tears. What was I trying to do? Despite knowing that he is just an imposter, I requested him to help me achieve a breakthrough. I must be courting death. Just as he was about to let loose insults, he heard another conversation starting outside. Old master, how long should we hit him for? A guard couldn't help but ask. They couldn't possibly go at it forever, there has to be a time limit. How long? Let me think about it. How about this? Yang Xian's voice hesitated for a moment before saying, hit him until he dies, hit me until I die. Zhuang Xian was truly enraged. I'm here to achieve a breakthrough in my cultivation, not to commit suicide. Yet, you commanded your guards to hit me until I die. Yang Xian, from now on, you will be my mortal enemy. If I don't kill you, my surname shall not be Zhuang. Screaming within, Zhuang Xian no longer bothered about rebuking the other party. Bearing with the pain, he channeled Jinqi from his entire body violently to the sealed acupoints. If I don't penetrate the sealed acupoints to regain my freedom, I will really die here today. You aren't helping me achieve a breakthrough at all, you are obviously trying to murder me. The more he thought about it, the more furious he got. If rage was a grain of sand, there would be a small mountain inside of him right now. Use more force. Haven't you eaten yet? The voice beyond the gunny sack roared. Zhuang Xian's eyelids twitched. With excruciating pain all over his body and the humiliation he had experienced, he could no longer suppress himself. Boom! After an unknown period of time, under his furious attempts, the sealed acupoints were finally burst open. With a jolt of his hands, the gunny sack which covered his head was torn apart. Kacha! Kacha! The wooden sticks in the guard's hands were also shattered into pieces by the shockwave of his and scattered onto the floor. Yang Xian, screw you! With a furious roar, Zhuang Xian turned to look at the mastermind, only to see the fake master teacher sitting on his high seat, sipping on his tea calmly. With an impassive expression, he glanced at him and said gracefully, Zhuang Shi, mind your identity. As a master teacher, how can you insult someone in public? Insult? I want to kill you. Zhuang Xian felt increasingly incensed. Bellowing, he prepared to charge forward. How about you try having a gunny sack put over your head and be flogged by wooden sticks? Identity? To hell with identities. If I don't kill you with my own hands, I shall abandon my title as a master teacher. Take a look at your own cultivation before deciding on whether you want to kill me or not. Zhang Xian paid no heed to his fury, slowly lifting his eyelids. My cultivation? Zhuang Xian was stunned for a moment and looked internally at his own condition. With a single glance, his eyes immediately narrowed. How is this possible? Chapter 174, The confident Ah Yun. He could sense the raging strength flowing through his body. He is now several times stronger than he was a moment ago. Clearly, he had already broken through Tongxian realm pinnacle. Half Zongshi. Zhuang Xian's mouth was wide open. Fighter 8 Dan Zongshi realm is the level where one gains the capability to create their own schools and become the conquerors. Even though just a thin line separates it from Fighter 7 Dan Tongxian pinnacle, the breakthrough is equivalent to a butterfly breaking out from its cocoon. This is the first true obstacle that one would face throughout the 9 dawn of a fighter. Countless geniuses found themselves stuck at this hurdle. Half Zongshi is the buffer between the two realms. In order to reach Zongshi realm, one has to first reach this level. The royal elder of Tianxian kingdom, which had kept the surrounding kingdoms in check using his overwhelming strength, is also just at this level. Zhuang Xian is a master teacher, and in order to reach this level, he had devoted countless resources and effort, only to fail repeatedly. But why did he, upon being covered in a gunny sack and beaten up by a wooden stick, suddenly break through this hurdle? This is too inconceivable. By the side, Lu Ling and Zheng Fei exchanged gazes and saw the confusion in each other's eyes. They had looked at Zhuang Xian's condition and tried numerous methods to solve his problem. Initially, they thought that with the accompaniment of age and a deteriorating vitality, achieving a breakthrough had become impossible. Yet, just with a single beating, he managed to successfully break through his current realm. Can things get even more ridiculous? Getting beaten up is the solution to breaking through? Then, to reach Zongshi, shouldn't the two of them find a group of person to beat them up as well? Perplexed, all gazes shot toward the fellow who was still busy sipping on his tea, trying to see if they could discern anything from each other's expressions. However, it was a pity that he appeared completely indifferent, as though nothing had happened at all. Of course, his eyes were still bloodshot, his spirits still withered, and his eye bags still tugging at his face. If not for the miracle he had just performed, they would be wondering where the fellow had gone to enjoy himself the previous night. Yang Shi, what is going on? As the other party didn't seem like he would say anything, Zhuang Xian took the initiative to ask. How he addressed the other party changed from Yang Xian to Yang Shi once again. You aren't going to screw me anymore. Zhang Xian lifted his gaze. Zhuang Shi's face flushed and cold sweat flowed profusely down his body. The other party was obviously helping him achieve a breakthrough, but not only did he not understand the goodwill behind the other party's actions, he even insulted him in public. He is truly the ideal example of an ungrateful person. Embarrassed, Zhuang Xian could only lower his head and apologize. Please forgive me for my ignorance. All right, I don't intend to blame you for that either. Zhang Xian gestured. The battle technique which you displayed earlier is extremely stable. There isn't any part which is particularly amazing, but neither were there any mistakes in your movements. That indicates that you have had a good teacher from young and you work really hard. Yang Shi is right. My father is a 1-star master teacher. Zhuang Xian nodded his head. Your solid foundation became both your strength and your weakness. As your father is a master teacher, since young, you have always thought that his teachings are all correct. Thus, you dare not disobey his words. Subconsciously, you began to cultivate a habit of sticking to the conventional means. The route of a cultivator is to go against the heavens, not to stick to conventional wisdom. Even though your cultivation advanced swiftly at the start, it transformed into a limiting factor when you reached Tongxian realm pinnacle. Zhang Xian lifted his head and glanced at him, as though lecturing a student. Zongshi, just as the name goes, refers to someone who starts a school of his own. If one doesn't possess his own thoughts and comprehension of cultivation, instead choosing to follow the route of the predecessors, how can one succeed? Even though half Zongshi cannot be considered as a true Zongshi, the same concept applies as well. After years of cultivation and accumulation, the Zhenqi and strength that you had harnessed was already sufficient for you to break through to reach half Zongshi. However, you doubted yourself, you didn't believe that you could reach that level. If I'm not wrong, your father must have never reached this state in his lifetime. In fact, something might have occurred to him when he was trying to reach this realm. Zhuang Xian staggered backward. The other party's words were spot on. Even though his father was a 1-star master teacher, he was never able to reach half Zongshi in his lifetime. In fact, while trying to achieve a breakthrough to that level, his cultivation went berserk and he became a cripple. In less than a year after that, he met his demise. Even on his deathbed, he was filled with regret over the matter. This incident had caused a trauma in Xuan. He was never able to exert his full strength whenever attempting a breakthrough from Tongxian realm pinnacle to Halfzongshi. Just that was a secret he had concealed in his heart for a very long time. He had never spoken of it to anyone. How did the other party know of it? Was it because he had watched him execute his battle technique? Due to this fear, no matter what pills you consumed or what cultivation technique you tried, you were unable to achieve a breakthrough. Zhang Xian stood up and walked over to the center of the main hall. You came to request for my guidance. In order for you to succeed, you have to first get past your fear. Otherwise, it would be all for naught. However, because you have buried this fear in you for countless years, how is it possible to overcome it all of a sudden? The only method is to utilize anger to dispel the fear within you. Thus, I had someone cover your head and beat you up with wooden sticks. Since you don't know the true reason behind my action, you would think that I am humiliating you and you would bear hatred against me. This way, resentment will overwhelm your fear. Given your countless years of accumulated jinqi in the rage in your heart, breaking through your current realm is expected. With both of his hands behind his back, Zhang Xian stood silently at the center of the main hall. The sunlight that spilled in from outside cast a shadow of a giant behind him. This Zhuang Xian contemplated the other party's words and couldn't help but be astonished. The theory sounds simple but is incredibly profound. In truth, the difficulty in deducing everything through watching a set of battle technique, finding the exact solution to the problem, inferring the likely ending beforehand without a single flaw is in no way easier than their endless cultivation to reach Zongshi realm. If they hadn't witnessed this personally, they would not have dared to believe it possible. Yang Shi, thank you for granting me a new life. I, Zhuang Xian, will never forget Yang Shi's grace for as long as I live. After recovering from his astonishment, Zhuang Xian immediately knelt down. He was thoroughly impressed with the other party's means and there wasn't the slightest bit of reluctance in his actions. You no longer doubt that I am an impersonation? Zhang Xian smiled, but there was no hint of humor behind his expression. Zhuang Xian rubbed his hands together nervously. Looks like the other party had known that he had doubted his identity, just that he couldn't be bothered with it. Upon realizing this, he felt even greater respect for the other party. Even though he had seen through their ploy, not only did he not get angry, he even helped him to achieve a breakthrough in his cultivation. This is how a true master teacher behaves, possessing the disposition of a true expert, witnessing the problem of their good friend being settled so easily. No matter how foolish Lu Ling and Zheng Fei could be, it was apparent that even though the person before them appears young, he is a true master teacher. Even though his means are slightly unorthodox, if he isn't a master teacher, how can he have such an in-depth understanding of a fighter's cultivation, instantly seeing through and solving a problem which had thoroughly baffled them and induced Zhuang Xian's breakthrough? However, regardless of whether his means are orthodox or unorthodox, Zhuang Xian's breakthrough means that the capabilities of the person before them far exceeds their own. No longer daring to underestimate the other party, they exchanged gazes and Zheng Fei stood up. Yang Shi, I have also met with a problem in my cultivation, and this problem has baffled me for a very long time outside the mansion. Do you think that the rumors are true, that the 3 master teachers are paying a visit to this Yang Shi because he is a 2-star master teacher? After seeing Emperor Shinjue and the 3 master teachers entering the mansion, the crowd outside couldn't help but gossip. No one present was certain of Yang Shi's capabilities, but to have 3 1-star master teachers visiting him at once, it is unlikely that the other party is an ordinary person. At the very least, he should have reached the level of a 2-star master teacher. I'm not very sure as well. I paid a visit to Ling Tianyu a few days ago and he was full of praises for Yang Shi. A while back, his wife was sick, we have all seen that for ourselves, but when on my visit, she had already fully recovered, as though what I've seen before is an illusion. I have also paid a visit to Xuan. Not only is the disease that had plagued him for so many years gone, his cultivation, just as the rumors state, has reached Tongxian realm. This Yang Shi is indeed incredible. As the few of them secretly discussed, they couldn't help but feel amazed by the other party's abilities. Actually, if everyone is curious about Yang Shi's affair, we should be able to get an answer by asking them. Suddenly, someone pointed to the front. Following the direction where the finger was pointed, they saw the guards of the three master teachers standing quietly not too far away. As the head, Yun was equipped with a sword and he emanated an intimidating aura. Emperor Shinjue and the master teachers had entered the mansion, but they, as guards, are unqualified to enter and could only keep guard outside. Indeed, they are the guards of the three master teachers, so they should be aware of the actual situation. The others immediately nodded their heads in agreement. Of all people, the three master teachers should be most aware of the capabilities of this Yang Xian. On the other hand, the ones who are closest to the three master teachers here are these guards of theirs. As long as they ask them, they should be able to extract some useful news. Brother Yun, a middle-aged man, stepped forward and clasped his fists. Clearly, he recognized Yun. As a top-tier one-star master teacher, Lu Ling is famous in the surrounding kingdoms. As his guard, Yun also has his fair share of glory. Numerous people had approached to bootlick him. So it's Brother Liao. Yun recognized the latter. He is a solitary swordsman of the Tianxian kingdom, and he is called Liao Yongjin. 5 years ago, he paid a visit to Lu Shi to consult the latter on a problem he faced in his cultivation. It is sufficient that you call me by my name. I am truly unworthy of you addressing me as Brother Liao. Seeing that the other party had recognized him, Liao Yongjin was delighted. After trading a few greetings, he brought up the question that everyone had been thinking of: since Lu Shi and the other master teachers are here to pay a personal visit to Yang Shi, does it mean that they know of Yang Shi's exact identity? Pay a visit? Yun sneered. Rather than saying that they are paying him a visit, it is more appropriate to say that they are going to tear off his mask. Brother Yun, what do you mean? Liao Yongjin was taken aback by the other party's words and he asked hurriedly. Simple. Lu Shi and the others don't think that Yang Xian is a master teacher. On the contrary, they believe that it is likely for him to be an impersonator, so they specially made the trip here to expose his disguise before everyone else. As Lu Ling's guard, he had been following him around these few days. He had overheard a fair share of the conversations among the three master teachers. Even though Lu Shi and the others were surprised by the incidents with Ling Tianyu's wife, Xuan, and the others, they thought it more likely that Yang Xian is a fake and he is intentionally playing out a show. After all, as master teachers, it is unbelievable for them that someone can solve problems that would leave them stumped easily, furthermore using methods that are difficult to comprehend. Under the front of paying the other party a visit, they are actually conducting an investigation. Yang Shi might be a fraud. The moment Yun's words sounded in the air, a commotion broke out. If this is true, it would be no small matter. They took great pains to queue for so long, only to realize that the other party is a fraud. Rest easy, Lu Shi and the others have entered for quite some time now. We should be able to get an answer soon. Flinging his robe, Yun calmly said with a haughty expression. If he isn't a fraud, how can he have such a dumb butler who speaks such dumb words? Jia. Right after he said those words, the tightly shut gates opened and a few figures emerged. Brother Sun, it is enough that you send us off here. I have truly benefited greatly from this meeting today. I know that Yang Shi cares not for material possessions, but these are tokens of our appreciation, so please do help us pass it to him. Standing at the door, Lu Shi chatted with Sun Chang with a wide smile on his face. At the same time, he was stuffing items into the latter's hands unceasingly. What? Yun's body froze. Chapter 175, Striking it rich. As the guard of a master teacher, he is absolutely clear of the standing and prestige the three master teachers possess in this kingdom. Yet, When the three master teachers emerged from the mansion, only the butler could be seen escorting them to the door. The fraud did not even show his face. Is that for real? Didn't you come here to expose that fellow's disguise? To be fawning on a butler and piling gifts on his hands, even calling him brother son, what is going on? Yun felt that he is mistaken, severely mistaken. Can it be that Yang Xian is really a master teacher? Just a moment ago, he had confidently declared that the master teachers had entered the mansion to expose Yang Xian's fraud before everyone. Upon witnessing the situation, he felt lightheaded. Didn't you say that he is a fraud? Then why are you treating his butler with such respect? Furthermore, to addressing him as brother son. Lu Shi, you are already in your 60s while son Qiang isn't even 40. To call him brother son, why do I feel goosebumps rising on my body? It is fortunate that we didn't listen to his words, otherwise we would have regretted it for life. Indeed, he doesn't know anything at all, yet he tried to feign knowledge, expose his fraud. Have you seen someone exposing a fraud like this? By behaving so respectfully to a butler in his master's absence? Immediately after recovering from the shock, the crowd criticized Yun harshly. Those who came here to wait at Yang Shi's door possess great reputation and prestige in Tianxian Kingdom. They might be fearful of Lu Shi, but the same cannot be said of Yun. When he spoke those words with great confidence earlier on, everyone believed him immediately. But now, they realized that they were fools to have trusted him so easily. After hearing those words, Yun was so infuriated that his body trembled uncontrollably, sustaining great damage within. You were the ones who asked me, so I told you out of kindness on my accord. Yet now you treat me like this. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have said anything. You want me to help your royal elder achieve a breakthrough in his cultivation? Zhang Xian examined Emperor Shenjue, who had put on a cautious expression. After helping Zhuang Xian achieve a breakthrough in his cultivation, Lu Ling and Zheng Fei lost all doubts about his identity. They proceeded to ask him a few questions about cultivation. Having read the books in the kingdom's book collection vault, Zhang Xian now possesses an incredible amount of knowledge at his disposal. Furthermore, with the Library of Heaven's Path ability to see through flaws, he took just a few words to leave the duo fully impressed. After a brief consultation, the three of them stood up and took their leave. On the other hand, Emperor Shenjue remained behind. He had come for the royal elder's matter. The moment the three master teachers left, he immediately took the chance to speak. Yes, Emperor Shenjue looked at him with utmost anticipation. If Tianxian Kingdom loses the protection of the royal elder, it probably won't take long before other countries begin to invade. The survival of the fittest is not just a phrase that describes the world of cultivators. Countries are also governed by this primitive law. I have only come to Tianxian Kingdom to rest. I do not wish to get myself involved in such troublesome affairs. Zhang Xian shook his head. It isn't that he is unwilling to help, it is just that the other party's royal elder has already reached the level of half-zongshi. If he were to achieve another breakthrough, he would become a full-fledged zongshi. Even Zhang Xian himself has not yet attained Tongxian realm. Although he had managed to help Zhuang Xian reach half-zongshi realm, luck had played a heavy role. He does not want to attempt something beyond his means and risk exposing his disguise. I beg for Yang Shi's assistance. Tianxian Kingdom is willing to offer anything in exchange for your help on this matter. Hearing his rejection, Emperor Shenjue knelt down hurriedly. He had spent great effort to invite the three master teachers, only to realize that they are helpless on the matter. His only hope is Yang Shi. If the other party were to really not lend a helping hand, the royal elder wouldn't last for long. Do you think that I lack anything? Zhang Xian's eyes narrowed. I dare not think so. Emperor Shenjue was shocked. He suddenly found his words ludicrous. The other party is a master teacher of greater capability than Lu Shi and the others. If he wanted something, a single word of his would send countless people rushing to fulfill his demands. As a tiny kingdom, how can Tianxian Kingdom offer anything of interest to him? How about this? Help me gather manuals on Fighter 7 Dan Tongxian Realm. It doesn't matter whether they are valuable or not. After you gather 1,000 of such books, I will consider guiding the royal elder. Zhang Xian said impassively. Ah. Emperor Shinjue was taken aback. Didn't you claim that you don't lack anything? Tongxian realm manuals, what do you mean by that? 1,000 books at that? His mouth twitched. Tongxian realm experts are the top-tier fighting power of Tianxian Kingdom. There aren't many of such manuals even within the royal palace. Yet, to ask for 1,000 of such books. What is Yang Shi up to? If you find it difficult, then let's just forget it. Zhang Xian waved his hands. It is no difficulty at all. Yang Shi, rest assured. I will definitely complete the task you ask of me within 5 days. Emperor Shinjue clenched his jaws and agreed to it. This is his only chance. If he misses it, he would definitely regret it for life. Zhang Xian casually gestured, not speaking any further. Recognizing his intent, Emperor Shinjue took his leave. The moment he left the main hall, Zhang Xian's eyes lit up. He didn't think that the problem with gathering Tongxian realm manuals, which had left him with a splitting headache, could be settled that easily. Given his capabilities, finding a book or two regarding Tongxian realm isn't a problem, but it would be nearly impossible to gather 1,000 books. However, it is different for Emperor Shinjue. As the sovereign of a country, it should be simple for him to gather a large number of Tongxian realm manuals. Most importantly, he doesn't require quality, only quantity. He doesn't need any of those family hereditament secret manuals, he just needs a sufficient number of manuals. Old Master Sun Qiang walked over. What happened in the past few days? What are those people outside doing? He was put under the scrutiny of the 3 master teachers and Emperor Shinjue from the moment he arrived at the entrance of his mansion. As such, until now, hadn't had the chance to clarify the situation. Reporting to the old master, in the few days of your absence, your name has spread far and wide in the entire Tianxian Kingdom. Sun Qiang explained the occurrences in the past few days in a concise manner to him. Zhang Xian then understood what had actually happened and he couldn't help but be impressed by the rallying ability of a master teacher once more. It is no wonder that everyone dreams of becoming a master teacher. Old Master, this is something that the 3 masters left behind, after which, Sun Qiang passed over a storage ring. Zhang Xian nodded his head. As he thought, given how wealthy the 3 master teachers are, how can they possibly not give any benefits when he had put in so much effort to guide them? After dripping blood onto the storage ring to claim ownership, he peered into the ring and his eyes widened immediately. The quality of the ring is much better than the one he is currently using. Even though they are both low-tier storage rings, the space inside the storage ring that Lu Shi gave is 30-meter-cube one, 10 times larger than the 3-meter-cube one that he has in his hands. Putting every aside, this ring is probably worth several million by itself. Numerous treasures were placed within, be it precious herbs or the mountain of gold coin. Judging with a casual look, he assessed the value of contents within to be probably greater than 10 million. Such an incredible sum, with just a single glance, Zhang Xian couldn't help but sigh. Master teachers are truly generous. Just a casual gift from them is worth several tens of million. Of course, he also knew that it was a friendly gesture from Lu Shi and the others. Otherwise, there was not a need to spend such a great amount just because he had offered them guidance on their cultivation. In the few days that old master was absent, Lord Ling Tianyu had also visited several times and he brought another 5 million gold bills over. Sun Qiang presented another stack of gold bills. Even though he knew that his status had risen, he did not dare to hide the money other people had passed to him and handed them over to the old master honestly. This is the entrance fee collected from other visitors in the past few days. I have compiled a name list, after which, Sun Qiang handed over a booklet. Casually flipping through it, Zhang Xian was astonished, so many people. Reporting to the old master, a total of 27 people visited the mansion and paid the entrance fee. Here is a total of 81 million, after which, Sun Qiang gestured and 2 guards carried a chest in. It was filled with numerous money bills. The heck, looking at the mountain of gold bills within the chest, Zhang Xian felt as though he was going insane. Initially, he thought that earning 20 million would be a nigh impossible task. After seeing the sum before him, he realized that he had underestimated the prestige of a master teacher. Just by announcing his name, despite not getting to see him beforehand, people are willing to deliver such huge sums. No other occupations would be able to achieve such a feat. Help me tell those who had paid up to visit tomorrow. I will solve their problems one by one. As for those who didn't pay the entrance fee, get them to leave. From today on, I won't be accepting any other requests. Rubbing his glabella, Zhang Xian gestured. Since he has already accepted their money, he can't possibly refund it. Moreover, dealing with the 27 people's problems would be sufficient to keep him busy for quite a while. Yes. Sun Qiang nodded his head. Placing all of the gold bills in the chest and those on hand into the storage ring, he took out a single bill and gave it to Sun Qiang. Here is your reward. I've already said it, I will reward you greatly for following me. In order for a steed to gallop swiftly, one has to first feed it sufficiently. In fact, if not Sun Qiang's effort in dealing with visitors these few days, he might not have earned this much money. Besides, this fellow must have probably suffered quite a few scares in the last few days. This is just a small sum of money. With his identity as a master teacher, he can easily make as much money as he needs. A million. Noticing the denomination of the bill in his hand, Sun Qiang was shocked and he knelt down immediately. This amount of money is something he could never have earned in his entire life. Starting from today, regardless of what the old master commands me to do, I won't bear a single word of complaint. Sun Qiang made a solemn vow in his heart. After following the old master, he gained not only pride and money, but also achieved a breakthrough in his cultivation. Such kindness and attention from the master, these are things which he would have never achieved by himself by simply muddling along for a lifetime. It can be said that the old master had opened a whole new world to him. It is as if he had granted him a new life. All right, I'll be heading out for now. Help me deal with those people at the entrance. Zhang Xian waved his hands. To him, the most important matter now is to collect his medicine and help Yuan Tao and Zhaoye awaken their unique constitution. And after that sleep. After 5 days without rest, he is thoroughly exhausted. If not for the rise in his cultivation realm, he would have long fainted into a deep slumber. Yes. Sun Qiang nodded his head. Aware that the front entrance is swarming with people, Zhang Xian left the mansion through the back door. After finding a remote alley, he took off his disguise, changed his clothes, and transformed back into his original appearance. With his looks restored, he immediately started walking with big strides toward the apothecary guild. Teacher. In Lu Sun's classroom, various students stood neatly in a line. Of which, there are Zhu Hong, who sent the war letter to Zhang Xian's classroom, Mo Xiao, Zheng Yang's good friend, and a few other people. If Yuan Tao, Lu Yang, and the others were present, they would surely be able to recognize that these 5 are the ones who would be competing with them as according to the list. A few days ago, they were only Fighter 1 Dan Jushi realm cultivators. But right now, the aura they exuded felt clearly deeper and stronger. They had all managed to advance to Fighter 2 Dan. Not bad. Seeing the improvement in his students, Lu Sun nodded his head in satisfaction. It appears that the large amount of resources invested and the effort that he had devoted to nurturing them have not gone to waste. Having attained Fighter 2 Dan, his students should be able to easily defeat Zhang Xian's students. Lu Laoshi, master teacher Yang Xian has appeared. Just when he was about to delegate some matters to his students, Wang Chao Laoshi entered abruptly. Excitement could clearly be seen in his eyes.